What's up, Senwena Senut Iti and Ishakan Kemet? I hope you're doing well. I just want to check that you can hear me loud and clear. And I can tell you that Brother Reggie is backstage. So it's going to be a pleasure for me to talk to him directly. Just want to make sure that the sound is. It's going to be a pleasure for yes, me the sound is okay on my end. Now, before I put him on, I want to put that video excerpt that I came across that maybe decide to do this live stream. It would not be long. It's less than 1 minute. So here it is.
I don't believe in old Egyptian gods. I don't believe in that stuff. I wasn't even taught that bullshit, right? I'm the one who bangs against the Kemetics. I bang against them and they can't get through me because the gods that they worship, right, were born from another group of thinking, right? So you can't come with me with no goddamn Heru or no other that bullshit. Show it to me in the primary, show it to me in writing, show it to me in the period. You're making the bullshit up.
All right, so I'm about to put Brother Reggie on. And before I forget, if somebody has the full video where this is taken from, please let me know because I've looked for it, I couldn't find it. So let me welcome Brother Reggie.
It's a pleasure. We tried to hook up many times over the years. It just didn't work, and so I'm happy to be here. I was watching your museum tour. We look alike in the museum. now we're older men.
Yeah, it's not so many people dealing with the original artifact. Indeed.
Yeah. So
and with that, I agree with you. I read a few of the comments you've left, and I lament as well that many people claim to be Kemetic, barely know like 5 middle nature words.
Yeah.
And if they know 5, they can probably read that too, or maybe 1. Maybe just they can read the Ankh and maybe the Ujat. They might know it's called Ujat. But I was quite surprised at that excerpt that I've seen because I know in the past you had some criticism. Maybe you did not express it directly, but people felt like you were talking about Jabari's organization. And that was like maybe a couple of years ago. And it was way more political than what we just heard recently. So feel free to express yourself, really, because I was planning on being fair, really, but I'm very happy that you decided to. I'm very happy that you decided to come because you'll be able to, state your piece.
Well, thank you. So certainly. So, YouTube is what it is. YouTube is hype. It does not mean at all that I do not love Africa. I do, certainly. I've spent more time on this planet than my age in studying Africa. I'm 56 going on 57, and I started studying Africa about 2021. I met Dr. John Henry Clark when I was 20. He was already 70. Dr. Ben was he was in his late middle 50s, I think. Dr. Jeffries was about, 44, something like that. Actually, yeah, he was about 44. James Small was about 39 years old. I met Dr. Richetti before she had her PhD. I met Dr. Jacob Carruthers and Dr. Malana Karenga. I listened to Diop over the phone when he talked to Leonard Jeffries. In '86, we were planning to go to see him for our trip, and he died 3 or 4 months before our trip. I met Dr. Theophilo Banga. I was able to sit at his feet while he lectured to a group. He's an extraordinary African. And then the Kemetics. um, the so-called Kemetics. It was Dr. Rickety Amen, really Dr. Rickety Amen and Dr. Jacob Carruthers that told us about Kemet, right? The name that the people called their land in the 10th and 11th dynasty. It was Kemet. And, but it wasn't Kemet um, at the time period of Nermer, right? And it wasn't, it wasn't Kemet for all the dynasties of the Old Kingdom. So the pyramids were already built before there was a name for Kemet. So then the question is, what do we know about Kemet itself? What do we know about Kemet? Why do we really know what Kemet means? Because if it wasn't Kemet in the early years, and you would know that in the old dynasty, right? Then why is it Kemet in the 10th 11th dynasty during the time of Keti and Keti, because King Keti was the first person to use really the word Kemet as a community, and Kemet is you can see Kemet in the Unis papyri, and we can read what it says, right? And so we have these two things. One is that Kemet, and I could pull it up later if you ask me, but Kemet, the first time we saw Kemet was when it said, he is Sai Kemet, he is Sai Kem, Masut Sit Kemet. So you could...
The birth of the place, Kemet, something like that.
Well, he's Sai Kem, Masut,
Mesut birth.
Masut, Sit Kemet. So he is the black bull. He is the black bull born of the black cows, black cows. So that's what he says. He's the Sai Kem, Masut, Sit Kemet. And what he's talking about a lineage. He's talking about a lineage of sacred black bulls, which were the animal representation of human beings. And so there was a lineage called Kemet, and that Kemet lineage is the lineage in which that's how you have kingship and rulership in Egypt by the divine black cows, those who worship the divine black cows and the lineage from them. And so then we get to this pseudo scholarship of the Kemetics, and I've argued ik is it's like when you say metallic, it's a suffix for like, seemingly like, almost like, taking the appearance of. So when you say Kemetic, you are basically like Kemet. So the Kemetics, their basis is based on innovation. It's based on innovation. And so now we challenge the innovation because you can read the text, and there are lots of people who can read text, or if you can't read the text, you can get the translations, and then you can actually see what they actually said. So now if we are going to, and you can stop me at any time. So so the question
is there any possibility that you use a headset? Because in the chat I was informed that there's some echo, and I can actually hear it myself when I speak. I presume you have the loudspeaker on, and that's what
well,
is
that's
causing
fine.
the
I'm
echo.
glad that we're into Dolby Sound and stuff like that. And but in the old days, when you listen to Dr. Clark and Dr. Ben off of a cassette tape, it wasn't a problem. But I would try to help out a little bit. Is this a little bit better?
Um, well, I
Is
don't hear
this
any echo, so it's great. Thank you.
okay? So
Yeah.
I'll use modern technology. So so the question is, why do we call ourselves Kemetic? Um, do we know the words that the people called themselves prior to Kemet? What did they call themselves? What did they call the people? What did they call the people? I'm not asking you. I'm asking the chat. I'm asking those who will bang on me because they want to keep their idols, their ankhs, and the rest of the stuff, and the clothing, and all of that stuff. What was the name that the people called themselves before Kemet? I know some.
But you see, I hear your questions, but the people who deal with Kemet, they don't necessarily ask themselves those questions. They follow a certain path, they follow a certain culture, and when we talk about Quebec, we know exactly uh, which place we're talking about. Nowadays, Egypt, including the northern part of Sudan, Wasset, and all these areas. So you mentioned those people who want to attack you because they want to keep their arms and their clothing, but you talked about this before, and I don't have any problem if somebody is an atheist, is an atheist, or even if he's a believer in a deity, but he doesn't believe in the deities of Kemet. It's not a problem to me because to each his own. But why is it a problem to you that some people dress in a certain way and make prayers? Why is it a problem to you, Reggie?
Well, the question is if you've been in the museums like me, and so I appreciate your work. Question is most of the material that we do have from ancient Kemet are funerary materials, and so now listen, look, Jabari is brother Jabari is a long time friend of mine, so I just want everybody to know that he's a long term friend of mine, and we have discourses. I can talk to Jabari. I have difficulty talking to some of the. No, there's another um, priest that I can talk to, and he's the. Uh, but I do have. So I have a open conversation with several priests. Um, and so I talked to Infidisi Jehudi Mas. I talked to this. I can talk to the head of the shrine of Anu. We've had some conversation, and they weren't too problematic at all. There's lots of questions, and then of course I can talk to Brother Jabari. I could talk to Asar and Ka. So I have an open line with some of them. I get mostly attacked by students of them. And so the question is, I go back to the original question is facts and truth. So we have writing. So we have writing beginning um, for most people in first the first dynasty. So, but writing goes back prior to that, and that's my work that I'm coming out with, and it's going to answer some of these questions. So, so the writing itself is basically there's a state created because Nermer, Meni was not Egyptian. You know that. He came from another culture of Nakata and Nubian culture, right? The culture, the Kustal incense burner, right? And the Nakata culture, and so these were two separate cultures that were communicating, both African. And when Mini Nermer created the state, then it caused the Sapats to begin to now, since there's a state, to now communicate better instead of being these separate areas of what they call P and Butu and all of these old places, right? Tennis, this, right? What they call Nechem, all these other places. Now they're communicating. What we have in the pyramid text is we have a canonization, so that the people don't fight. That uh, they can build this state, which was necessary. So they collapse a lot of the belief systems into one, and we see that in Winnis, and then we see it in Pepe and stuff like that. And so, um, but most of the people who are Kemetic, or really 18th dynasty practitioners of that faith, of that religion, or what they call spirituality. And there wasn't, what's the word, spirituality in spirituality, not in ancient Egypt. I mean, we have words like Ba, we have words like Ka, right? So we have Ren, we have the divisions of the soul, right? So,
But
yes.
if I may ask, if Kemetic people nowadays are only 18th century followers, is that a
18th
problem in,
dynasty,
yeah, 18th dynasty
yeah,
followers, like the New
yeah,
Kingdom, really?
yeah,
Is that a problem in itself?
yes. It's a problem in
Why?
itself. Well, but the 18th dynasty was pretty much the middle of the beginning and the middle of the end. After the 18th dynasty, the empire, and by the 18th dynasty, very and only in small places were they actually calling the state Kemet itself in the 18th dynasty. It's not a whole lot of text. The
But
Yes.
it was probably the most powerful that Kemet has been. Would you agree, or maybe not?
Yes, I agree. I um, I agree to a certain circumstances. At that period, the place that we call ancient Egypt became highly religiousized. But mind you, I don't know if that's true, because the pyramids were already built. You know, the writing was already constructed. The language was at its all time high in the Middle Kingdom. 18th dynasty's issue is largely its connection with its neighbors. And then the expansion of the kingdom. But then in the 18th dynasty, you have the Sea Peoples, and so you have major attacks on ancient Egypt, and Egypt, and what they call Egypt now is at a decline. You also have the unfortunately bad management of the state resources in the 18th dynasty, and so there's no standing army. Um, there's no major fortifications, and so then from
The
the
Amarna period, probably you're
yes,
referring to.
that whole period, because of all of that's part of it. And so you have even
That's
within
really due to Akhenaten, right?
no, it's funny. It's not really Akhenaten. It's really his parents uh, were adherents to the Amen religion, and they were fighting against the Amen priesthood. So they, um, how can I say? So they were practitioners of Atum, and his mother, Queen Tai, she was like a co-regent when there was Akhenaten. So you see her in Amana, right? And so she is part of the Aten religion. So because that was really, if you read the text earlier, her husband had built a whole complex with a lake, and they were worshippers of Aten, and they was fighting the Amen priesthood. And then after that, after Akhenaten and Tutankhamun and you have Amun Ra. So now they fuse Amun with Ra. So it's another human innovation. They fuse the sun disk, right, with Amun and call him Amun Ra, and now you have further mismanagement of the empire through through the priesthood. So it gets bad that the whole funerary thing took a lot of the state resources. So they were preparing for death, not for life. So then a lot of the texts that we have from that period, I mean, once they found King Tutankhamun's treasure, then these people went bananas, right? And so now we're led by white folks and their phenomenons, right? And then we have to get to this period of when do Africans actually begin looking at Egypt? And so we have Dr. Martin Delaney. Um, you can read Dr. Mario Beatty's piece on Martin Delaney, which is important. He's one of the first Africans to go to Europe. He's the first African that even begins to get the Sampolian stuff and begins to try to understand the text. You
But
have,
but
yes.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you,
You interrupt me, it's okay.
but why would it be a problem
Mhm,
if some people today
mhm,
dress a certain way and make comedic prayers?
mhm.
Why is it a problem?
Oh, well, the problem is that what are they saying? What are they doing? What are they saying? Like we know we're not illiterate now. This is 2022. You say in Nezareth Geb, Anuk Geb. Like first of all, show me that in the text. If it's not in the text, then you created it. And then in Nezareth, homage to or I see your face in
I- i-
Nezareth Geb.
in Nigeria, but you studied on the record. I mean, she teaches that as well, and she uses that as a greeting, and she translates that as "I seek your counsel."
Yeah, I see your face, right? I see your homage to you, right? So she in fact does she does in fact that, but she does much more. She is the master on the literary text, but she is a great teacher, and and what she does is that she does well. First, she's a PhD, so she's not spooked out, right? But she has always tried to teach the Rakit, that's the commoners,
The knowledge.
right? And
Oh,
then
I thought you said record. Okay, yes,
yeah,
okay, the record. Okay.
the Rakit, the
Mm,
commoners,
mm.
us, right? The people not in PhD programs and stuff, the language, right? So that we can have more conversations. And her name is Dr. Riketi Amun, right? So she
I'm
has,
familiar.
yes.
I'm familiar with her. I'm familiar with her. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question is what she what she actually teaches in her class, and then what other people take from it is different things. So yes, I took an introductory class to Medu Necher when I was in college, roughly in 85, 85, 86, about that particular period, roughly 85, 86, and when we was formulating ASCAC. And there was a social and cultural movement based on, wow, this stuff belongs to us. And so you can expect some cultural innovations. But now we're in 2022. So now in 2022, we get a chance to now get past the fads, and we get back to now we get into the knowledge. Some of the people are stuck within a period. So let's get just to the point. In Nezareth, Geb, Anuk, Geb, that is one of their what they call the opening of the way. Well, where do they even get any of that from? Well, they get that from, as a researcher, they get that from coffin text. That's where they get it from. A coffin text, right? The Pert Imheru is not even formed yet. We're dealing in the period of coffin text. Hatshepsut didn't have a Pert Imheru. She had a coffin text. It's only Tutmosis, the Tutmosis period, that we began to get the first Pert M Harus. Pert M Harus are late.
Right, right. Now, if I follow you, you just
Hmm.
said that they get that from a coffin text. So they
Yes.
get that from some writings, some attested writings, right?
No, they get parts of it.
Okay.
They,
Well,
yeah.
I'm more for correction, or I'm more for accuracy. I'm very big on that because
Hmm.
I'm giving also maybe nature classes. I've been doing that for a little
Hmm.
while. And first, I teach the basic vocabulary, basic grammar. And then when people have enough knowledge, we go through the text. And as you have seen,
Hmm.
I'm used to going to different museums in different countries, and whatever I can read, because of course I'm far from being able to read all. There's hundreds of beliefs. Some people
Hmm.
say there's thousands of them. But whatever I can read, then I just read it and introduce people to some of the concepts that I'm aware of. So I'm all for accuracy is very important because
Hmm.
interpretation can really mislead us.
Hmm.
Um, there's something that I say and I've been saying over the years that I lament with our people who are very good at that. Black people are very good at doing linguistic gymnastics and linguistic acrobatics.
Okay.
So one example is the cares thing.
Hmm.
Some people say that Christ comes from cares, but cares has something to do with the tomb or the burial. So
Hmm.
the meaning is not even the same. So just having words that are like that sounds the same, like homonyms, is not enough. If it sounds the same and the meaning is the same, then I guess we have a case. But whenever we hear something that sounds similar, we all automatically want to make a correlation. So indeed, it's
Hmm.
important to be accurate. But if those people that you are referring to are not accurate, we can just say, okay, that's not accurate. But the way you sound, and it's very confusing because sometimes you defend Kemet, and sometimes you sound like you're like you said, you bang on Kemetics, and that I never understood coming from you. I never really understood. Now, if there's one particular group that you have an issue with, maybe it'll be better to just point that particular group out. But sometimes I really don't understand.
Oh, you Kemetic?
I will consider myself so. Yes, I would definitely yes.
So that means, so if you're Kemetic, why are you
Or
Kemetic?
I mean, I'm not claiming I'm a descendant of
And
Kemet.
those are different. You're a descendant of Kemet.
No, I'm not claiming that.
Okay.
No, no, I just said I'm not claiming to be descendant from Kemet.
Yeah.
My preference
Uh-huh.
is obviously Kemet. Try to follow my app and try to follow the
Uh-huh.
ways of the A2 of the ancestors.
Uh-huh. That's
And I'm
fine.
trying to share that culture.
But I'm not banging on you. You ever see me bang on you?
No, I'm not saying that
So
you're
what?
banging
A
on me,
rock? I
but
threw a
you
rock in the. I threw a rock in the air and it hit you.
well, it's nothing personal.
Okay.
Like back in 2011, Wesley Muhammad said, "Throw Kemet in the garbage can, throw my out in the trash can, throw Ahmed Rad's let me got away," and I
Hmm.
addressed him,
Yeah.
and up to the point where he challenged me for debate. I accepted. He backed down. It is what it is.
Hmm.
So Garfield, not long ago, also he made some statements
I
repeatedly.
don't talk about him.
Or obviously you had a fallout, but at
I
one
don't
point
talk
you were
about him.
cool.
It's not. He's not relevant. I mean, he's not just not relevant in this conversation.
Well,
When I mean relevant is that first you have to look at when a person has actually been. What is the person's base viewpoint? Meaning, and when did they come into this work? Right? When did they come into this work? Do they have any writings on the subject? YouTube is not scholarship. So let's just. So the question is, you can. See, that's the problem. There's people on both sides, on all sides, and they don't have any academic training. You ask them who their professors are. God damn it, you even ask them who their great grandfathers are. Can't even tell you. So the question is where just because people become YouTube personalities doesn't mean that where were they 10 years ago? Where were they 20 years ago? Where were they 30 years ago?
I
So
I
yeah.
see what you're saying, Reggie. I see. But
So what makes them what makes them
at one
authority?
point,
Yeah.
you obviously had an issue, and it is what it is. It
No,
happens.
I'm not
But
talking about one person. I'm
yeah, because
talking about
you used to be a
lots of
regular.
people.
You used to be a regular on his platform. You know,
I'm not talking
so
about him. What I'm just trying to say is, what I'm trying to say is, I just want, I'm talking about groups of people. So,
well, really,
yes.
I mentioned him because just to say that he said he made several statements towards Kemet that were negative, and at one point I addressed it. I did the same with someone called Chief Something. I invited him also to come on the platform.
Yeah, but which is, see, sometimes you're wasting your breath. Like they got no standing. It's just a YouTube views for them. They got no standing in scholarship on the subject. You have work. I see you in museums, and so you, like me, we fall into these traps of talking to people who have no standing in this, but they do have platforms. Wesley Muhammad is more interesting because he has standing in another field, which is his version of Islam, and so um, we would just check the Nation of Islam or what he's saying and his version of Islam. We would check it because um, we read the Quran, we read the text. Sometimes sometimes we find out that what they're saying is not even in the Quran, and then it's in their teachers' teachings. And I can respect the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, the messenger of Allah, to those people, and I can respect them, and we've had a long history. But sometimes we pick the wrong battles.
are you aware that they teach that Africans are living a jungle life,
Yes,
and I cannot respect that. But to each his own. I'm not asking you or anybody else
but
to
they
say.
don't. They see they speak that to the populace. So they would avoid speaking to someone like me. They avoided speaking to Dr. Yusuf Benjo Cannon. That's just for the populace and for the believers, right? Who were the Arab people? Who was they? Were the Arab people Christians? Were they Christianized? Right? Who was the Mushrikeen? Who were they? That is Islam a sect of Christianity, right? Is it divine, right? It's an AD religion. So so what? So that means that your God couldn't write. Your God waited till the Africans and others to learn to write, right? Um, um, and then you want to say, oh, you got your revelation from Gabriel. Well, was there a human named Gabriel? Yes, they were. At that particular time, a real man named Gabriel, right? Who was he? He was a Christian. And what did he do? He converted them to this form, to a form of Christianity, to fight the Byzantines, right? What did Gabriel do? Gabriel was trying to raise a stone and couldn't raise the stone, and so Gabriel rose the dead to help them lift the stone. Gabriel has um, more bringing people back to life than Jesus Christ. This Christian Gabriel didn't have to pay taxes. So maybe they took this Christian Gabriel and they made him Jabril, the angel, right? So when we go into and so the later day prophets, Prophet Noble Drew Ali and the messengers, the later messengers, how come they didn't tell us real facts? Why do they set us up with scholarship? And then when scholarship comes and shows us, then we find out that the things that we were taught is not exactly right in history, right? Old man Kush was the first inhabitant of Africa, and then we go back and we find that's not true scientifically.
Well, when you're asking, why
Mm-hmm.
why did he not teach us certain things? I'm paraphrasing. He did not say that exactly, but you might be aware of that, and I think my listeners are aware of that. But the majority of the
Mm-hmm.
uh, people of the so-called conscious community and beyond, they're not necessarily aware that the Asiatic that the Asiatic Black Man movement derived from the
Mm-hmm.
Shriners. It basically derives from Freemasonry, and I have a whole video about that called "Deception of Asiatic Black Men." So, to make the long story short,
Mm-hmm.
you had Fleming, and I forgot the other guy's name, but one of those two were both Mason. One of them went to France, and there was an Arabic theme party, and he decided to just come up with something based on the Arabic and slash Islamic influence
Mm-hmm.
or persuasion. And then when he returned, he created the Shriners. And we have Elijah Muhammad on tape saying that he was a Mason once. And we can even see from the way they dress and from the ritual, from the fairs and
Mm-hmm.
so on, that it derives indeed from the Shriners. So hence why it's not really Orthodox Islam. But the problem with someone like Wesley Muhammad is that he's trying to push back the birth of Islam,
Mm-hmm.
and he's talking about the Canaanite deity El.
Mm-hmm.
And because most of our people are not really familiar, they feel like, okay, yes, this is Allah. And even in the debate, he showed, the Canaanite deity El, and say, look, we have El there even before Osar, but that's not Allah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, now,
And that's great. And so now we have to leave our beliefs. We have to leave our belief sets, right? Now we have to argue scientifically, archaeology. So we have to argue at that front. So now we have to leave our beliefs, because if I'm trapped into believing Kemetic stuff, so when they pull up Kemetic texts, uh, like they often do with where they say get they saying this figure is sucking his own penis, right? And they pulls this stuff up. I have to say, well, what is the writing? What's the associated writing connected to that, right? Where is the text itself? It's Hanutaway, right? What is Hanutaway? It's a Perdim Heru, right, of a woman, right? And it's and so what does the related text say? But if I'm trapped into a religious things of believing, I can't argue. I can't defend Africa. I can't defend African philosophy, where you see that this figure is actually a figure with a huge penis, and is pointing to his face just to show how huge it is, right? In his birth, the figure's in a fetal position, right? And he's being born to Shu, Nut, and Geb, and so you see this figure being born. So I can't argue. I can't argue intellectually, even though that's a belief of the religions that of ancient Egyptians that I don't believe. Right? I can at least say what the philosophy of the ancient Egyptians were. You understand?
well, there is this papyrus. Indeed, I don't know what the text says. Sometimes it is used to criticize Kemetic people. I will say it's an exception because I don't recall
What,
ever seeing
Hunitaway? The Hunitaway?
the papyrus where we have an individual with his
Yeah,
penis
that's
facing towards the.
Hunitaway. See,
Yeah.
that's the difference. So the difference is where I take them off the stage. If you can't tell me the name of the papyrus, and you can't tell me the associated words related to it, right? Then you're just doing look see, right? And you got to get off. And then I don't believe in it, right? Um, I could respect it, right? I can respect it, even though I might use some harsh words, just because maybe in the context of where I was saying, I have people that I'm in a debate mode. I'm in a debate mode, so I'm pushing them. You say that you know all of this stuff. Where's your papers? Show me a peer-reviewed paper that you wrote. Don't tell me no lecture. Show me something with some footnotes. right? Don't. I'm not believing what you're saying. We're through with that belief shit. You tell me where the footnote is. You show me that you read it yourself. You show me your research.
But there's an NOI. Elijah Muhammad never had any footnotes. Those people believe in what he said. The people who deal with the Kemetic teachings, let's say, not to say science, they are grounded on some writings that we have. They might not be able to read it all, or they might not be able to read even a few, but it's standing on some very valid and solid foundation. Someone doesn't need to write some peer review paper with footnotes in order to claim a particular culture. You see?
No, they don't. But they don't. But it depends on the audience. So our audience is multiple audience, YouTube audience, and then it's our elder scholars, and then it's the Europeans. So we have to be prepared to fight. We have to be prepared to fight the Europeans because they are the ones who have hegemony, and we've made great strides in fighting them. So they push back. So in New York at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, there's an exhibit now, The African Origin of Civilization, where the Met has dropped a sword. They saying basically for too long they've separated the West African, Central Africa from Egypt, and so they have a combined exhibition called The African Origin of Civilization, and they tribute Cheikh Anta Diop. This is from the fight that we've had in New York with the Met. So our work goes past the commoners, right, to academia.
But that's interesting. But just as you feel like we need to fight the Europeans, and of course, that's academically, um, other people will feel like, okay, I want to practice culture. That's why you have people who belong to shrines or different organizations, and they strive to follow Ma'at. They strive to learn what they can about the Mother Nature, but everybody have their own level. You
Yeah,
see,
they do. So they do have their own level,
but
but we could
there's
be.
nothing wrong in that. Do we agree on that,
Yes,
or do
no,
you
we do
disagree?
not agree with that.
So what is wrong
We
with
do
that?
not agree with that
Because
because okay.
like even as you surely know, in our lifetimes, we'll never be able to read all the material available, all the texts available from Kemet. There's just too many. So there's only so much that we can know.
Yeah,
So
but you can have a methodology.
well, that's another issue.
Yeah.
Like okay, so I mean, on one hand, you have those people who teach that Africans are living the jungle life. I don't hear no criticism.
Yeah, I
They,
criticized
they,
them. I mean, I criticized them. Dr. Wesley Muhammad, like me, first of all, these are people I know in person, right?
no, that's fine.
So,
I'm not
uh,
about it's not about attacking somebody personally. I mean, you probably seen that. Okay, let me just play this clip here. It's only 3 minutes.
So Shabazz was not permitted to stay in that area, so he took his family into the jungle of East Asia, which we now call Africa, to make a people close to nature. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, this is the origin of kinky hair, because we didn't have kinky hair prior to that. The hair on our head was like the hair on our eyebrows. The hair on your eyebrows straight, the hair on your head is not the same as the hair on your eyebrow. But the hair of every other people is the same as their eyebrow. Your eyebrow straight, your hair something different. Wouldn't you like the hair on your head to be as straight as the hair on your eyebrow? That's why you so busy frying it. That's why you so busy pulling it. Because your nature tells you that the kink I mean, with I'm black and I'm proud, we got to learn to be proud of kinks. because most of your family of other black people on the earth, jet black. They didn't have no broad nose and thick lips and kinky hair. They were dark-skinned people, jet black, but they had straight hair, a thinner lip, a thinner nose. But we are marked as a different kind of black person. And we were rejected and despised, not only from the circle of the gods, but we were despised and rejected by all the other dark people of the earth. This is why today black people with kinky hair and broad nose and thick lips are rejected in every society. I want you to hear me well tonight.
Yes, sir.
Why are we rejected? Because the essence of beauty is in obedience and submission to God. And the essence of ugliness is when you rebel against God. And when you rebel against God, in your rebellion, you are marked with a certain mark of your rebellion, which is the disfigurement of your internal self, which manifests in the disfigurement of your external self. And this is why when you look at our people, wherever we are found on the earth, you find us either disfiguring ourselves physically because we are disfigured on the inside because of rebellion.
I'm not here to talk about that. Look, he's teaching to his adherents, right? And he's teaching from basically it's basically a sermon to his people. It's not meant to be scholarly. It's what the Baptist preachers preach in their form and what the Catholics preach. And so, what's the?
I beg to differ, because that was to his audience in 1992, indeed. But the explanation or exegesis that he's making is regarding Elijah Muhammad's writing that we find in Message to the Black Man, and probably also in the Theology of Time. We even have Elijah Muhammad during an interview. It's a video, and he says that we were different, we're more delicate. So their theology is not just for them; that's to the world.
Yeah. Okay.
That,
so if you young scholar,
and if
young scholar, listen to me, young scholar.
Okay, if you don't mind, in 2012, at a university, Farrakhan said that we didn't have kinky hair. That's their teaching. That first we had straight hair, and after we rebelled against God, we were disfigured. And I hope you understand. I'm not expecting you to criticize the nation of Islam. I know how it is in America. Farrakhan is seen as some sort of hope, and people are not very eager to express criticism towards the nation of Islam. So I'm not asking you to criticize them. But on one hand, they teach, and we heard Farrakhan, the leader of the organization, say that our phenotype is basically the essence of ugliness. That's what he said. And we are marked, we are disfigured.
I understand that. Since I'm in America, right, and I've met Mr. Louis Farrakhan. I met him at Dr. Yosef Ben Jochanan's when we went to Gil Noble's funeral, right? I brought Dr. Ben to Gil Noble's funeral. So I met him. I've been to the Million Man Marches, almost all of them. Maybe I might have missed one. I see the work that the Nation of Islam does. They're teaching lessons, allegory lessons. Those are mostly allegory lessons to a people that is open to hear it. Scientifically, what he said and what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said is categorically incorrect. The fact of the matter is, hair depends on your proximity to the sun. You will have coarse hair to protect you from if you're on the equator line. You will have less kinky hair when you're away from the sun. He's teaching from an Arabic point of view, from where his work comes from. If we are marked, then how is the white man marked? We have science and we have evolution to talk about that it was the African that left Africa several times, 60,000 years ago primarily, and uh, and when they did the Homo sapien, when they left Africa, I'm not talking about the other earlier African species. I'm not talking about Homo heidelbergensis. Well, when they left, the string is the Denisovan and the Neanderthal. But when the Homo sapien sapien, who was born in Africa, leaves Africa and admixes with the Neanderthal, we get different type of phenotypes. Uh, in that particular area, and then you have what they call the Asiatic science. There's philosophy, there's religion, and science. But science ultimately ends up with tools, prove or disprove these things. I can't criticize the Nation of Islam and then not come back and criticize the people who the Kemetic group of people who were basically birthed within the last 30, 40 years. And just to check them to say that maybe we're going too far. Maybe we should just study African history and not get stuck on beliefs, but find our black asses in libraries and museums and learn to try to read the text. And then once you do that, you find out that the gods of the Egyptians weren't the first gods of that area. You find from the Kata and Nubian A that the parent people of the ancient Nermer Menes was not Egyptian. Nermer and Menes was not an Egyptian. He was not Egyptian. He created a state called Egypt. What was he before that? Right? What evidence do we have to say that these people, what were they doing? Were they writing at that time? They sure were. Ancient Egypt is a civilization. Ancient Egypt is a civilization incorporated what you call Genesis cultures of their parent people, and then they made innovations, and then they made them into philosophies, and then philosophies and myths, and religion or their spirituality. The average man and woman in ancient Egypt had no connection to a god. God did not communicate, or any of those things did not communicate with the common man. They only communicated with the leader, the king, the ruler, right? Or the woman when she was a ruler. And then they made that king or that female ruler divine, right? And so the average man, when you read the Hotep Dinosut, it is the offering that the king gives, the burial offering that the king gives, not God. The king is in the domain of the divine, not the regular humans. You have pre-colonial Black Africa to tell you that. Yes.
Yes, we have the Hotep Dinesu or Dinesu Hotep, as some others will say,
Yeah.
invocatory offerings, but it did not stop the population of Kemet of having what we call beliefs. We can also see them making offerings. For example, the papare of Ani, the Peret and Heru of Ani.
That's later. Let's get to the right period. Don't get me to Ani, 18th dynasty. You cannot jump. You cannot jump from the period of Nermer to the 18th dynasty and make it the same thing.
So
you can't do that. If you're a scholar, you can't do that.
Calm down. Calm down. I'm not your enemy. I don't know why you're getting hyped up. Now,
no, because I'm getting hyped up because you know better than this. You cannot prove something in the 18th dynasty that they believe the same thing in the early dynasties.
okay. Now, listening to you, on one hand, the people who call themselves Kemetic must know the Medu nature, but not only that, because I don't have a problem with that, but when it comes to Islam, you cannot say that the majority, and it's not I don't have the mindset that we have to copy others. It's just a comparison. You don't have the majority of Muslims who know the Arabic language. But you keep talking about the early dynasty, Nama, and beyond. But how far will we go? How far will we go? There's only so much people can know. If people decide to follow the path of Kemet, then that's what they will deal with. They will not necessarily be able to tell you about what happened before the dynastic period, before the Sematawi and so on, and the Septepi and so on. There's only so much someone can know. What's wrong with them not knowing what happened before? What's wrong with them not knowing the Nagada one, Nagada two? Is there something wrong with that?
I'm not. That's my point. My point is to know, not to believe. So if you're not reading the dissertations, if you're not reading the scientific journals, if you're not doing that, then you don't know. You simply believe.
Well,
So
you can you not know only by reading journals or peer review papers.
how else do you know, sir?
Well, if you have the original artifacts and you
Where are
have,
the original artifacts, sir?
where are
Where
they?
are they? Where do they exist, sir?
They're all over the world.
In what media, sir?
Well, media, you can find them on the internet or you can see them for yourself if you go to a museum.
No, the internet. Okay, so the museums. How often do they update museum artifacts, sir?
That depend on the acquisition. I cannot tell you how often they do, but I would say it's rare. Doesn't happen often because
They have
the
exhibits. They do have exhibits that they introduce, right? But
but it's not regular.
the research is in the dissertations that are usually formed by the field research that they put in dissertations and in conference papers, and those things get usually find themselves published to the masses maybe 4 to 5, 6 years later. So if you want to find what the latest find is, the latest dig, you usually look into a dissertation or a scientific journal. The primaries that we get are usually artifacts stolen, bought, whatever, that these large museums have. They are useful, but then we have to kind of measure how they actually present those information. But I respect you, even though I might get loud with you or anything like that. I do respect you.
I
So if
appreciate.
I don't respect you, I would not talk to you. I don't. I mean, I would. But my point is to the people who are watching. The fact of the matter is, the European, because he has the money, right, and the Arabs because they run Egypt, they have access to the primaries. When they have access to the primaries, those things are usually studied for 2 or 3 years before they come to the public. Or they're shelved. They're put into a closet and they just don't want to deal with it. And so the people who the believers are stuck waiting because they don't have the tools. So me and you agree that if you don't have any meta skills, right? Then what are you talking about?
Well,
What are you talking about?
well, honestly, if someone doesn't know the Medunetra, he can still read because he can read about the culture because there are translations. There's plenty of scholars who talk about it. You see, we cannot be so harsh on our people because it's the same with Islam. It's the same with Judaism. The people who follow Islam, they don't all know the Arabic. The people who
I'm
follow,
not being harsh on the normal people. I'm
wait,
being harsh on it.
I'm
I'm being harsh on the teachers. I'm not being harsh on the normal people. I was a normal person myself. I'm still a normal person. I'm being harsh on the people who make money on YouTube, right? Who get donations and offerings for teaching something that's absolutely wrong. I'm being
well,
harsh on them.
okay. Are you sure it's absolutely wrong? Because if it's inexact, if but totally wrong, I think you're pushing it a little.
Yeah,
Huh?
totally wrong. I mean, sure, you can make a living on half truths. So if you want me to say that half truths are right, then the fact of the matter is that then Africa won't change while the European is changing, the Chinese are changing, the Japanese are changing. Africa will be
Because you
left in
know,
the past.
you know, let's presume we have some Kemetic people who are not 100% wrong. But then again, who's 100% wrong? I'm sorry. Let's say there's some community people who are not 100% right. But then again, who's 100% right? Now, the NOR, we've heard they teach that we are marked, we are disfigured, they get money. And they don't just teach half truth, they teach stuff that are just completely inaccurate, completely unscientific, like you have alluded to. But you were quick to say that they were doing work in the community. And this is an example of how harsh, or this is an example of how harsh
Well,
you are.
don't push that to me. Push that to Dr. Joseph Benjo Cannon and Dr. John Henry Clark. My
What,
teachers
what,
were harsher, way harsher than me. So
they
what do you?
actually,
So I can't be harsh. I can't
well,
be harsh. But
you
they
can be,
taught me to be harsh.
you can be harsh, but you need to be fair. Because I'm glad you mentioned Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark because they are, um,
I'm being fair. How you say I'm
what,
not being fair?
well, because you have the NOR who's teaching that we are marked, we are disfigured, that our phenotype is the essence of ugliness, but yet you don't
Listen,
criticize them.
listen.
But you
I
have some
am the only person. Stop it and don't be untruthful. I'm the only person who has debated the Moorish Science Temple of America.
that's not
Right?
the NOR.
No, they are a branch of this. If it wasn't for the Moorish Science Temple of America, there would be no NOI.
Yeah, but it's not the same organization. But the things that I'm not trying to argue
But
with
they
you.
teach the same. Do you understand? They teach the same. Okay, they teach the same points. And with the Nation of Islam, I do argue with them, right? So what point? I mean, I understand what you're saying. I'm spoken directly to Dr. Wesley Muhammad, and
You didn't go online saying you bang on him, but you went online saying you bang on Kemetic people. But what I was trying to say, however, is I'm glad you mentioned Dr. Ben and Dr. Cloud because there are some of the few who have publicly criticized the Nation of Islam for their anti-black and anti-African teachings. We have Dr. Clark on that lecture he made about the Million Men March, and he addressed this statement about us being disfigured and so on. And we also have Dr. Ben who said, and both of those statements were on tape. Dr. Ben who talked about that curse, and he said sickness comes in all. I forgot the last word he said, but they basically both addressed that publicly. And I think it was courageous of them, not in the sense of okay, they are being confrontational, but at some point when some people teach that we as black people are disfigured, it's very wrong. But then again, with those Kemetic people, they would not know it all. There's only so much someone can know.
well, they
But maybe your issue is with some particular people, or maybe it's
no.
one
See
particular
you now.
people.
Okay, so now you keep bringing it back to individual people, and I think I made myself clear.
But you mentioned leaders. Which
Yeah.
leaders are you talking about then?
I told you, I told you some of the people in the shrines I have a open communication with. I have personally talked to some of them and debated some of them online, right? And in other circles I have. The Nation of Islam, I have personally spoken to Dr. Wesley Muhammad on Dr. Yosef Benjo Cannon, right? And the Moors, I have spoken directly to them. And you also have to know that I'm a member of the Organization of Afro American Unity under Professor James Small. So I have always been, how can I say, but I've done something differently than a lot of other people have done. I don't mix the past with the present. We shouldn't be warring and killing each other as we did in the 60s after El Hajj Malik El Shabazz got killed for the betterment of our people and for the future, we need to kind of we need a reconciliation. So I have a big difference with the Nation of Islam's teachings, but there are a lot of good people in the Nation of Islam, but I do criticize them. So
Well, I've never heard you, I've never seen you being so harsh the same way of the video that I played earlier. You know,
you haven't seen all my work. So why don't you so let's disagree to disagree, because we're talking about multiple things. You keep bringing me back to the Nation of Islam. The conversation is
maybe there's a confusion right here.
Yeah.
But there's this video that I played at the beginning.
Yeah,
But I have heard you many times
Uh-huh.
criticizing Kemetic people. And one criticism against you that has been made by many people, including Sanjeti, he did that on air, is you providing information to Hebrew Israelites before he was about to debate Sarasukin Seti. And some people see you as fence riding at times. Sometimes we just don't understand why, on a regular basis, you criticize Kemetic people.
Because I'm a scholar, I'm always going to fence ride. But that was you're confusing some things. First of all, when a person makes a criticism of me talking to Nazi Yasafel at that particular time period, there are a number of things going on. One is Seti was saying that he was a student of Dr. Yosef Ben Jochanan, and people were believing him. He was not a student of Dr. Yosef Ben Jochanan directly. He was through Ashraf Kwesi. So the issue is, what he was saying, people was believing that Dr. Ben spoke that. But at the end of the day, Seti does what I expect him to do. He joins with young Pharaoh, and he says the Meta Netra cannot be deciphered. But that's not. No. See.
That's wrong. That's no, brother.
But I saw it. But you're not. You don't know I don't know if you know these people. I know them, right?
No, I don't know them personally.
So I know them personally. So I see it coming. So I'm speaking to them as this thing happens, right? So I'm the person who says before there's momentum. I say, no, you're not a student of Dr. Yosef Ben Jochanan. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring Dr. Yosef Ben Jochanan to one of your lectures. That's what I did. I brought Dr. Yosef Ben Jochanan to Seti's lecture with Dr. Alim Bey, right? And Dr. Ben was like, I don't know. He's not a student of mine. As a matter of fact, there's too much cursing. I want to leave. It's not the way I teach. So we took him home. So the question is,
they knew each other though. They've seen each other. They spoke to each other. We have the video of that.
No.
Now,
wait. Stop that. Right? You seen the video. I tell you that I bring Dr. Ben to the lecture.
I heard you.
So I know Dr. Ben. Right?
I'm not disputing that.
Okay. When I brought him there, right, said he ran to Dr. Ben, right? But Dr. Ben is going to be polite, right? Because that's why I'm bringing him. He did go on maybe one or two of Dr. Yosef Ben Jochanan's trips, right? He did go. Does that mean that you know the person that you've been? I live in New York City. I've been to Dr. Ben's home. I know both of his wives. I know all of his children. I was part of the funeralization of him. I know when somebody knows him and when he don't.
You know him better than other people. That's a fact. But we cannot take that away from him. He knew him. They knew each other. They spoke. That's what I'm trying to say. And I'm not here to defend anybody.
Because I spoke to Mr. Louis Farrakhan, do I know him? No, I do not know him. I do not know him.
He didn't just speak to him just once, but But at the end of the day, he has Dr. Ben Joseph Ben Yochanan has made his transition, and Dr. Ben was used by some people with the Meduneta issue, and that was addressed on a few platforms. But I was lucky not long ago to come across a video where he was actually dealing with the Meduneta, even though it was with numbers, because some people say, "Oh, yo, that's not language, that's the numbers." Indeed, Dr. Ben had some criticism about the pronunciation of it, but I
Of
never heard Dr.
course,
Ben. Yeah, I never heard Dr. Ben saying that it hasn't been deciphered or whatsoever. But
of
then
course.
again, since you mentioned that, I want to repeat that ever since they've been saying that it hasn't been deciphered, I disagree. And they're not the first one who said that. The first one that I heard saying that was Walter Williams. That many people call Dr. Walter Williams. I don't know where he got his doctorate degree from. Maybe he has one, but I don't know where he got it from. I don't know what field it was. But
Hmm.
um, he released his book, I think it was 1992, on the Maathian Press. So that's very funny. Someone who says that the Medunetta has not been deciphered writes a book on the publishing company, or whatever you want to call it, called Maathian Press. He greets saying Ma'at Hotep, but he's going to tell people it hasn't been deciphered in a book that he wrote in 1992, and he made that argument over 2 pages. That was not even the topic of the book. And to sum it up, he basically said, well, we were not there, so we don't know what they meant. As if we know what people meant when they came up with those Greek letters or the alpha, beta, and so on. We're not there when they came up with it. So, I mean, the argument doesn't hold much weight. And we know that not only because of the Coptic, but also because of the Greek. For the mere fact that we have the name Alexander written with the Middle Nature letters.
That's the work that you do that work, and you do that work well, and you make those points. And so I don't have a disagreement with you, but I do. Look, I'm only a human being, and I have to pay rent, and I have to live in New York, and but I'm one of the leading people that makes the critiques in New York. But I don't just make the critiques to Kemetic people. I make it to Muslims, Moors, Hebrews, Christians. I've had more debates than most people, and so they will call me for a debate. One is because they know I have a good chance of winning, because I'm not going to have to be apologetic on a belief that I can understand their belief. I'm just not a I just there's no reason for me to believe the belief in scholarly as a scholar, because I know I have more of an idea of what the ancient Egyptians practiced from their parents than most of the people who most of the Kemetics. So the Kemetics want to keep you largely in a particular period, but very few of them can read the language. There some of their
It's true.
teachers
It's true.
can, and so the question is, they don't go. If a DC is somebody I do respect, I only disagree with him um, in some cases, but I'm able to go to him and say, Brother Infidisi, I disagree with that, respectfully, and let's read this text together. Let's read this text together, and what's going on here. And he's honest, right? He's honest personally, um, and but he's a teacher, so that's what his system. He has a particular system. So
He's,
I
he's
think.
also, he's also a student of Rekiti Amen. But is there something that you want to shed light on, that disagreement that you have with Mfudishi?
No, not Infidisi. I'm not going to disagree directly with Infidisi ever.
Or,
I'll show
or
you.
I,
I was trying
I
to.
misunderstood maybe.
No, I was going to show. I was going to show you something.
Well, feel
Um,
free to share your screen.
yeah.
But who are you talking about then? I must have misheard the name then.
Some people I just prefer not to talk about,
Oh,
because
okay, okay, okay.
I don't want to be. I don't want to give them energy. Their energy.
Mm.
The energy. Only energy I want to do is show me your writing and show me your footnotes. Show me your writing.
Mm.
Show me your footnotes. Show me. So let's
Mm.
so
While you're looking for that thing you want to share with us, if I may give you a friendly advice, uh, it would probably be beneficial to you if you will use your own platform
Oh, okay.
because
Well,
it takes
I
time.
tried that. I've tried that. No, you know what it
Well,
is. I've tried. First of all, Listen, I've been doing this for so long. I know that if I go on Black News 102, I can get 5,000. Sonetta, I can get 5,000 views. If I get,
yeah,
there's
but
lots of bright people who have their own platforms, and they get 34. Jonathan Owens. Jonathan Owens, he is an enormous scholar, right? But I cringe when I see him only with 100 views, right? So it's better for me to go up on on some of these
well,
other channels. But I understand.
well. I mean, I remember once you came up with a video introduction and you had a website name. But after that, you did not, pursue in that direction.
Yeah, I put the
But
first
but but
video
but but
up
but,
on the
but
conscious secret of the Ankh. I put that
yes,
up maybe
but
I
but
don't know
but
11
but
years ago.
the things, yeah. I mean, I started my website more than 15 years ago, and in the beginning, you have few people. That's the way it is. But over time, it will come, and you need to have that patience. That patience. I'm sorry. But trust me, if you upload on a regular basis on your own channel, you will gather some following, and it will grow. But it takes
Well,
time. And
how old are you?
I'm 39.
You're 39, so that's the time period Malcolm only lived to 39. So you're in a precious period.
Mm,
Sir, I'm 56 going on 57.
mm.
Um, what I choose to do is I'm finishing up my book on the origin of writing is in Africa, and it took me I wrote a book on Kemet. I don't know if you've read it on
I,
Kemet,
I,
which is
I
yes.
wasn't aware you had a book out.
No, the book I'm finishing writing, but I have a
Okay.
journal article on Kemet. I'll show you the journal article, and we can go through some of the stuff in the journal article. But the journal article is the probably most definitive work on the word Kemet, right? And so,
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's probably in response to
what the
the
Amna
people who
Roscoe?
said that. Well, the people or the guy who was claiming that it means like marshland or something like that.
Yeah,
Well,
riparian,
Barbarian
and all
country.
that. No, I
that,
took them. I
that was
took
funny.
them.
That was funny.
I took the young people to a national conference. I said, "You want to debate? I'm tired of debating on YouTube. So let's go to in front of the PhDs and let's see if they accept your work, your methodology." So I took them to the Association for the Study of Classical African Civilization. I took them to their national conference. I put one of them on stage, and Dr.
I mean,
Mario and I and
I followed all that, Dr. Mario Beatty and all that, and
yeah.
I read your message. You said that you introduced them and you regret because of the way it goes. But I mean, that guy Asar, he invalidated the claims of Dr. Shekanta Diop, Dr. Reketi Amen, and other scholars as well. He does it all the time. I heard an audio. You're familiar with Ned and Neb. Ned and Neb, he had uploaded a video, a conversation between Asar
Hmm.
and Dr. Campbell, who is a PhD in linguistics. Asar was arguing with Dr. Campbell, you know.
Yeah, I listened to it.
Uh,
First
uh,
of
uh,
all, Ned is my he's a teacher of mine, and he's a friend of mine, right? And he's a peer of mine. So I know. How can I say? I know the issue. I know the point that they made. I know that Ned was the first to debate or saw on this, and but I have a personal relationship with Ned. Um, and to me, he's one of the brightest young people in African linguistics, and so all of this was that part of this conversation. Ned debated a SAR, and then I chimed in and let them know that Asar wasn't using the feminine T principle correctly. He didn't even really cite it. He then Asar said that that was Bantu that wasn't that they were using something else. That's fine. We continued this conversation on what Kemet means. Then what we do is we take it out of the YouTube world, and then we took it to a national conference where Dr. Beatty got a sense of listen to my presentation and his presentation. He accepted my presentation. He made his own points as a PhD, and he just simply did not accept a source statement. A Saw and them wrote a book. They wrote a book, and a short book. And I said, okay, I'm not gonna write a book. I'm gonna write a journal article. So I wrote a journal article. So let me just start right there, so the people will see the journal article. So let me just start right there, because I just think there's a difference. When you read a journal article, it's peer reviewed. It's got to go through a process. It took me 2 years or so to get the thing. How can I say published, right? So just because people just want to check, So let me just show you that. Kemet, TU, and I think, let's see what this is.
Do you know that your screen is shared right now? Do you know that?
Yeah, but I'm going to unshare
okay.
that and share something
Oh,
else.
okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, I know that. I'm going to share something else. So the first thing, so if you want to, if you want your work kind of accepted, right? Okay, so I got it. So let's just put this up. Stop sharing. Bring this up. Great.
But you know, while Brother Reggie is looking for the thing he wants to show to us, I agree, however, and we have too many people who claim to be Kemetic, and they cannot read 5 words. I mean, there's plenty of Muslims who don't know the Arabic, but if they see the word Allah, they will recognize it. You see, a lot of us, we say Uncle Jaseneb. It's only the Ankh that we will recognize, and it's not something that's rocket science, you know. So it is worth giving it a try. There's several people who give Medunature classes, and even if you don't want to take a Medunature class, there are books available, you know. And the one by Being Manley, now is a European, but it's a very nice one, and I've shown it before.
Who is it?
Being Manley is that one there. Well, maybe because of my background, it will not show very well, but it's Egyptian hieroglyphs for complete beginners. That one is very nice because it's well made, and he shows artifacts. So he's showing you how to read directly from artifact, which is something that I do with my classes. You know, when you have the glyphs, they look all nice with the font. It's one thing, but when you go to a museum, a lot of time it's a bit damaged or it's not drawn the same way. Scribes do not have the same handwriting, so to say, and the order will not necessarily be the same because of the space. And so you will feel good, brothers and sisters, if you learn a little bit and you go to museums and you recognize some of the glyphs and you manage to read a few sentences. And before I let the brother share his stuff, some of you have followed my videos. When I go to museum, on a very constant and regular basis, I lament that I see all these white people. When I go to a museum, I might see 2, 3 black people. And when I'm in Paris and I see black people, for the most of the time they are from America. Sometimes they are from Africa. I don't see the French black people. And it's in the middle of Paris where you have all these touristic areas. And it's a huge shame. I see white people taking their kids, telling them about Kemet, about ancient Egypt, telling them about the deities. The other day I saw a grandmother with her 2 grandsons, and she was kicking it. She sounded like a professor. and I'm usually the only black person there, and it makes me sad. But anyway, go ahead, brother Reggie.
Okay, so I observed the same thing in the New York museums, the Brooklyn Museum, and the Metropolitan Museum of Art. I I observed the same thing in the Penn Museum, and certainly the Boston Museum of Fine Arts. So those are the four major museums. Black people don't go to museums; they go to parties, right? Or right, they go to
It's true.
parties. So or they go sometimes they go to classes. So luckily we do have people teaching this information. But my article is syncretism, a means and method for accurately translating Kemet, Kemetiyu, and Kim. It's in the Journal of Pan African Studies, right?
Did you want to share it, brother?
Yeah, I'm sharing it.
Uh,
Yeah.
there it is now.
So it is in the Journal of Pan African Studies, and I will just say, let me just see, volume 13. So let's just, this is the printout of it, but let's just go here. It is in the, I don't know why it's not showing up. Okay, maybe, okay, that's why. Okay, so let's just go to Journal of Pan African Studies. And the Journal of Pan African Studies is one of the early journals of that was created by now the ancestor um, Itabari, right? And it has been around since the at least the 80s, and basically it is a place in which black professors who need to and researchers who need to get published could go there instead of being published in the other journals. But it comes, it's a journal, so it's a proper journal. So in academia you have to publish or perish. If you don't publish, you perish. So it was a place where Africans can go and get there or work. Most professors. So in volume 13, number 1, is this. It's in the tribute to this great journal, and we haven't had too many journal people. We've had the journal out of the Temple University that was bought by Sage. We've had the Ivan Van Sertima's journal, and we had Itabari Zulu's journal, right? Very
Hey,
few.
can I ask
Yeah.
you a quick question? Um, Sorry to interrupt, but you mentioned Temple University. Um, Modefe Asante, is he part of ASCAC?
No.
Okay.
He has. He is a friend of. He is certainly a friend and someone that I and I used to listen to him before he was the chair of Temple University when he lectured in Black Studies, City College. Um, but he is a friend, but he is a man of his own standing. So he was
Did,
selected. Yeah, he was selected, and the beautiful thing about it is he has pushed out many black PhDs
mm,
and from his program.
mm. I just mentioned him because it could be seen as an analogy, but he came up with Kwanzaa, which is plagiarism of the Jewish holiday Hanukkah. Yet we have so many people who celebrate that every year.
Well, it wasn't him. It was Dr. Maulana Karenga that created
Oh,
Kwanzaa.
I'm sorry. Thank you for the correction. It was indeed Molana Kurenga who came up with
Mm-hmm.
Kwanzaa. No, I was confused there, and I'm glad
Yes,
you
sir.
corrected me. Um, Molefe Asante defended Kwanzaa and Kurenga as well.
Sure.
He said that every holiday is made up, every holidays are man-made, and so on. But
Huh?
for a holiday to be man-made is one thing, but when you plagiarize a Jewish holiday and you try to pass it off as an African holiday, that's another thing. And here we have an example of something that's celebrated by Black people worldwide, but it is fraudulent. Uh, but we don't hear that much criticism. You
Well,
see, on it.
here's the thing. First of all, The Jewish holiday is religious. Uh, Kwanzaa in itself is not religious. You can call it spiritual if you like, but basically it's it is using it's principle oriented, not necessarily God oriented. And so then there's a big separation. Should we represent gods or should we represent principles? There are some symbolism to the Jewish faith, but how could you call Kwanzaa plagiarism of the Jewish faith when the Jewish faith has its beginnings in ancient Egypt, right? So how
That's
could you?
that's
So
something up to debate. That sounds like a shortcut to me, because the thing is that you see, Karanga has presented Kwanzaa as some
alternative
genuine. Well,
as
that's
an
not what
alternative to
that's
Christian to Christmas and to Hanukkah,
he
based
he
on
he.
African principles.
But he presented that as an African tradition, right?
Innovative African tradition for Africans here, based on
Sounds like
African
you're defending
concepts.
Kwanzaa, but it's okay. You have the right to. You have
I'm
the right to.
not.
But
I am a. I just
I mean,
do think that it's part of education.
but
So
even the chandelier, even the symbolism. You just put the red, black, and have you read Mukasa Africa, Dr. Mukasa Africa's article about Karanga and Kwanzaa,
um,
Karanga's ghost? Because I actually communicated with Molefe Asante,
mhm,
and he even accused Dr. Mukasa of being an agent provocateur,
mhm.
and then he cut the discussion short.
Well, there's a
But
first of all, when you're
mm,
dealing with Dr. Malana Karenga, who I respect, I disagree. I have
even
some,
though he tortured black women, and that's why he went to jail for, but
yeah, I do understand that, but I also
but you don't
understand.
criticize him publicly, do you?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
Yes, I have.
I've missed a lot.
Yes, I have. But
Okay.
but but see, see, I mean, I got a lot of battle scars, right?
Mm.
If you want to hear my statement on it, um, Kwanzaa in itself is really a socialist concept. It's really communitarianism, and it's the highest form of socialism. If you want to hear my particular critique, so it comes out of the radical socialist tradition of the 60s when most of our people, Black Panthers and all of them, was using socialist vernacular, and and but it was certainly a pathway for us. This comes out of Kawida theory, right? And yes, Kawanza, I'm sorry, Dr. Malana Karenga was involved um, in something very very negative, but so was the Black Panther Party, and they were all both victims of COINTELPRO, and so that the police was involved in both organizations, leading to the killing. Actually, after the killing, Dr. Molefi Asante, I think he became head of the same institution where the where the where the conflict between us and the Black Panther Party. But no one wants to criticize the Black Panther Party for their police infiltration. They do want to.
But I don't think the issue is policy infiltration. I mean, I think most black people know about COINTELPRO. We're talking about those two black women who were tortured. It
Uh
wasn't the
huh.
police who did that. It was
Yeah.
Karanga and his
Uh
people.
huh. I understand. Understand. So we gonna have to do a lot of healing because we're not talking about the black women that was taught. I know more about the black, so I don't want to. I want to leave some things in the past because I know that the Black Panther Party was. I mean, look. I mean, look. I don't want to get beat up in New York, right? I mean, the
Okay.
fact of the matter is, is that there was a lot of slogans that came out.
We just have to be fair, really. I mean,
We will, but we
if
have
want
to be
criticize Kemetic
knowledgeable.
people, if you want to criticize Kemetic people for not knowing enough about the ancient dynasties, but then you want to be
Yeah, I am, but I am.
so
I'm
mild
handling.
towards people who torture black women,
I'm handling.
it's not being
Yeah,
fair.
I no, but but see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't want to go on, and we don't want to talk about the history of our people during the COINTEL program. We don't want to go around and we can look at all of these organizations and looking at the torturing of black women. Fact of the matter is, as a population, we don't care about the black woman. We've never proved in all of our organizations there are men, leaders, right, who sleep with black women and who are predators in academia, predators in these organizations, all these religious and spiritual organizations. The first thing they do is prey on black women, right? So we're not, if you want to be honest, like, let's just keep it a buck, right? We're not honest because almost all these organizations, these leaders have multiple wives and stuff like that. And these women are, after they have the children, they're forgotten.
Brother, it sounds like you're really defending Karenga. I mean, there's a huge difference.
No, that's not you. You don't get. You don't get it. I'm talking about
Having multiple women and raping women. I mean, that's night and day. But I'm not expecting you to criticize anybody. Please
you.
feel free.
No,
Please feel free to
because
share.
you're in where, London or England or wherever, right?
I'm in France right now.
You're in France, right?
But please don't bring that. You don't know what it is in America. I mean, back
No, I'm not bringing that. But
no,
I'll tell you one thing.
because
I'll tell you no.
Then that's what he was saying. When
No,
he was
I'll tell
defending
you one.
anti-black teaching.
I'll tell you one thing. I walk in my neighborhood and people pull up on cars and I'll be on the buses and I'll be on the trains, right? I know a lot of people know me, right? I have to keep my criticisms academic, right? You are away from that. I mean, you can Hebrews pull up on me, Moors pull up on me, Christians pull up on me.
We're not talking about the Hebrews nor the Moors, but I understand what you're saying. Before the record, when I addressed Wesley Muhammad for the first time with the serious video called "Setting the Record Straight" about Dr. Wesley Muhammad, I was in America. I was in Florida. I've been to America before, and I'm planning on going back to America because there's so many museums that I want to go to, including those that you
Yeah,
have mentioned.
that might be fine, but when you're dealing with Dr. Wesley Muhammad, you're not dealing with just a person, Dr. Wesley Muhammad. You're dealing with an organization, and luckily, the Nation of Islam is civil unless you are ultimately disrespectful, and if you're ultimately disrespectful, you disappear.
Well, you're defending the Nation of Islam as well. They're not civil at all. The Hanafi murders, they killed women and children. I mean, they killed children and they tried to kill the woman, but she survived, and that's why she explained how they did. And they had mercy on the baby. They drowned the baby. They didn't want to shoot the baby. So, but then again,
But that's
you
not.
have the right to defend them.
Is that?
It sounds to me like you're defending everybody but Kemetic people. Kemetic people, you bash them, but
Nah,
other people,
I'm not.
you make
I'm not.
excuses for them.
I'm
and,
not.
and that's where I really, with all fairness, I really
You're
feel like
not being fair. You're not. You're actually not being fair.
You said
you're
they're
actually
civil.
biased.
Well, it's okay.
As young scholar, I told you in the 11th dynasty, Kemet was born in the 10th and 11th dynasty. Kemet for community. No, I told you that. Don't interrupt me now, right? Because now you personally said some things to me, and I just let it go, right? I let it go, so I have the response, right? I asked you, well, and you probably know, but most people don't know, right? When was the first time Kemet was being used and why, right?
I don't know.
Okay, so maybe you. Okay, so most people do not know that. To call a whole group of people Kemetic, right? You're being dishonest scholarly, right? Meaning that you're picking a time period, you're picking a theme, right? And so I'm not calling them. I am criticizing them academically. I'm not criticizing the people personally. I'm criticizing the concept that is different than any of this stuff about all this maltreatment of people. I'm doing it in an academic, educational format of critique. If they want to critique me, if they want to debate me, if there's time and material, you can debate me. But before you debate me, to be honest, you shouldn't be a goddamn Johnny come lately, right? I need to know if it's scholarly. I need to know from whence you come scholarly. I have an honors award in Black Studies when I graduated in 1988. I had already been to Egypt, West Egypt in 87. I've been to West Africa in 86. I worked with Dr. Leonard Jeffries, who's my mentor for the majority of my life, and Professor James Small, right? And I've written papers. I've worked at the Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture, right? I've done a federal case, and I've done a federal state case on civil rights. I write about civil rights, right? You're going to have some standing instead of some Kemetic name, right? My name is Reginald Mabry. That's my name. I don't hide behind no Kemetic attribute. You're going to have to show me your paper. The difference is what I'm trying to do for you is I'm actually trying to show you a paper I wrote. I'm trying to show you that it is in a historical African journal.
Feel free to share with us.
The paper is syncretism, a means and method of translating Kemet, Kemetiyu, and Kem. I talk about the stuff that we talked about with the purpose for the debate, where it came from. I outline the glyphs for Kemet, for Kem, Kemet, right, and Kemetiyu, right? Kemetiyu from Shekan to Diop, the Negroes, right? I go in and I ultimately start talking about the first time I read what John S. Mbidi says. Africans are notoriously religious, and each people have its own religious system, set of beliefs, practices, religions permeates the departments of life. I quote Dr. Jacob Carruthers, right? I talk about the case of Kemet, right? Here on the Unis papyrus, see, this Unis stands among you, 2 horns on his head, like 2 wild bulls. For you indeed the black ram, son of a black sheep, born of a black sheep, suckled by 4 sheep mothers. I give you the utterance on the pyramid text. I give you the transliterations so that you can translate it yourself, right? So here he is Sai Kim, Sa Sit, Kemet, Mesu, right? Sit Bak, right? So we don't speak the Meta Necha. What we do, because that's not a language. Those are transliterations. So I start there. I start where the first occurrence of it is. Then I go through and I find the other occurrences of the or co-text or other translations to see exactly if it was just a one-off. So I go back to another version of the pyramid text. Then I go to a later text, the Book of the Dead Papyrus, right? Where it says, for you are the black ram, born of the black eel, the bright eel born and suckled at the breast of the 4 sheep. So I know that in a later period, they borrowed stuff from the earlier periods. I go through the text, and then I deal with Kemet, the people. Kemet is collective as the people, right? It's collective, it's a plural. You see the 3 strokes, right? You see the glyph for Kemet, it's female. You see the people, and then I correspond that to the sacred black cattle, which is Kemet, done the same way. And then I go in and I show you the text where humans are actually the divine black cattle. So it's a lineage. So, and I do it in a scholarly way. I footnote everything that I say. And so this text is, oh, here's a text over here. King, I give various occurrences to prove that the African looked at the human as divine cattle. And then in this case, King Keti's instruction to his heir Marikari, which is important because this is this is the beginning where the state was actually called Kemet, and it comes from Keti's statement to Marikari, and it says here, provide for men the cattle of God, for he made heaven and earth at their desire. He suppressed the greed of the waters. He gave the breath of life to their noses, so that their likeness of him who issued his flesh, it shines in the sky for the benefit of their hearts. He has made herbs, cattle, and fish to nourish them. But he says, provide for men the cattle of God. And the way that we see it over here, we see it over here. Hin, Remet, right? That is the people. Awat, Net, in Neter, the divine Awat. Awat is the cattle. So we can see this in the glyphs so we can verify. And then there's the Westcott Papyrus where they tell you don't kill a human being as a sacrifice because he's a divine cattle. And then we deal with Dr. Jacob Carruthers where the text becomes dramatic. So here is when we get to the context of things like the strong bull and other words that relate. And then I detail the problem of Kemetics from the Diop, when Diop and was arguing with Abdullah in the UNESCO 1974 UNESCO symposium, right? And in the argument between Abdullah and Sonoran, right? So I deal with that text, and I deal with the issue of the feminine T, and then I go through the Middle Kingdom to find other occurrences of the sacred black cattle in the context of, and this is a context, this particular one is the context of Hathor or Hawahor, right? Where they use Tenetui, right, as another form of the sacred cattle that of the Hathor worshippers. So we see Tenetui like Kemetics, right? Kemetics. So we see that, and so then we go down to how can I say, this translation I am going to have to rework. I've had somebody else retranslate it, so I might have to do some more work on this particular translation and correct some things on that. But the point was, then we can talk about the Apis bull. So I'm talking about the tradition of worshiping, of having an animal counterpart as Kemet. And so, and then here we have the four types of cattle. We have the Kemet, we have the dappled cattle, we have the red cattle. So I go through to try to help people understand the context of Kemet, but I didn't leave out the fact, here's cow, the Kemet, here's the Kemet cow, the black cow, and we have Pepi Kim. So you can read my article. We deal with Bat, who is the goddess deity before ancient Kemet comes into being with Nermer. So what we do is, so we can argue Negro speak, or we can argue in academia, or we can argue in this context of banging. The reason why I wrote this article is to give some insight on the meaning of Kemet, right, from its actual origins. So now it's the issue of the debate about the Kemetic people, or the people of Kemet. So then I'll show you this. I think I can, if this is up.
And
Yes.
while you look for it, you stated before Kemet came into being with Narmer,
Mm-hmm.
and I was about to ask you actually.
Mm-hmm.
It seems that we are in agreement that at least from the time of Nama, whether it was called Kemet or Tawi or Taneri, we had one country, right?
No,
No?
no. We had that's the purpose for Nirma. The purpose for Nirma was to unite all of these nomes, these places like P and Butu, Nekum.
Yeah, the
Uh,
42 gnomes.
no, before they were the 42 gnomes,
Mm. No, but
right?
I mean, just so that we're clear, from Nama, can we say, or do you agree that from Nama we have one country?
From Norma, yes, we have a state in unification, yes,
Okay, all right.
but we
Uh,
don't have Kemet yet.
well, you can argue that.
No,
You can argue that.
there's no argument. The word for the people community hasn't been formed yet. There's no argument.
Okay. Out of curiosity, why do you pronounce why you don't pronounce the W as the sound U?
Commit to you?
Like when there's a W, you tend to pronounce it like the English W, like like the sound for uh, wind, for example. Why don't you pronounce it like the U sound?
Cause it's not a language. It's a convention. Why do I have to pronounce it? I don't know what it sounds like. I'm using it from a convention. It's not. I'm not religifying it, right? It's a convention.
Well,
Yes.
it's not about making it religious, or maybe I misheard you.
Is it a language? Do we know? Do you know how it was spoken?
We might not know exactly, but we have the Coptic that helps us.
Yeah. So
And
that's
and and
Netta
and
Neb's
and, and,
work. Netta
and
Neb work is and Dr. Ricchetti's work is the
mm,
reconstruction. Until it's
mm, mm.
reconstructed, we
but nobody says that the Hebrew is not the language, and you know very well that the
yes we
Hebrew went
do.
to.
We
Who
do
says that?
say nobody's heard Hebrew at the time period of Aramaic when it was coming out of
Li,
when it was
li,
coming out of Babylon.
li,
Nobody's
li,
heard that.
linguists don't say that Hebrew is not a language.
No one's saying Metanech is not a language. We're saying we
You
can't
just said
pronounce
that.
it. No, I'm saying we can't pronounce it. It's not. We're using we're using the what we basically the transliterations.
Well.
It's not a language.
We do have the convention of placing the vowel e between the consonants, but in many instances we have the vowel sounds.
Yeah, but we don't know if it's Kamut. We don't know if it's Kemet. We
I see, I
don't.
see, I see what you mean, but that's why I brought up the Hebrew. People don't say
I,
that
I'm,
we don't know how to pronounce the Hebrew. Hebrew is accepted as a language, so why wouldn't we have the same standard?
no,
Why
because
the
what
double
you're
standard?
doing is you're reading. What you're doing is when you're reading Hebrew, you're actually looking at the transliterations, right? And then when you actually begin to read it with the Hebrew words, you know that is that's a new form, right? We can't say that was the original form. We don't know the dialect. We can only but where religious people say it's true. Scholars know that they're reading transliterations, so they just read it. They don't necessarily speak it. Sometimes we do speak the transliterations, um, but even when we speak them, we know that is we've never heard an ancient Egyptian speak. We do have Coptic, but Coptic is the last form of the ancient Egyptian language.
Hmm.
But and so we could make out some forms, but prove to me Ankh
No,
is
I get you.
in
It
the
could
in
be,
the
it could
prove
be
to me Ankh.
wonky. Yeah, I get you.
I don't see no A. Should prove to me that
Mm,
there's an A in Ankh.
mm,
Prove to me.
mm. No,
Show me the
I,
uniliterals and
I, I,
biliterals, a
I,
glyph
I,
for
I,
Ankh.
I understand. I mean, some people pronounce it Rana, but because we have the ayin, then the n sound, and then the h.
Yeah. So
So, but then again, when it comes to the Hebrew, nobody brings this. Nobody says, okay, we don't know it, But and I agree. To me, it's more like it's a Canaanite dialect, and the religion plays a big part. But then again, we have the linguist, and none of the linguists that I haven't heard. I haven't heard all linguists in the world, but I haven't heard a linguist said, okay, Hebrew is not a language. Linguists don't say that.
Yeah, but what are
So
you saying that I'm saying about Kemet? I'm just saying that I don't know how
no,
to pronounce everything.
well, at one point you did say it's not a language, right? But
No, I
then,
never said that it's not a language. I
okay,
said I
okay,
can't speak it.
okay, all right. I misheard. It's all good. It's all good.
I said I can't speak it. Dr. Ben said you can't speak it. It's deciphered. It can be translated. It can be. We can use
you know,
conventions.
we
There's
all know.
German conventions.
We,
When the
we
German translated, right, when they put out their transliterations, it's different than the English and the French transliterations, and so we get different sounds, right? We deal more with the English and the French than we do with the German, but they have their own convention.
that I'm not familiar with because I don't speak German, so
No, but
I'm
they
not.
have their own convention. They
No,
have
no,
their
no.
own scientific convention.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying I'm not familiar with the German convention. You know, because I speak French and English, so I'm familiar with the French and the English pronunciation when it comes to the transliteration and so on. You know, so
Okay, well that's your convenience. But if you go to a conference with the German, right?
but I'm
Then
not disagreeing with you. That's what
okay,
I'm trying to say.
And that's
Yeah.
and so that's the point. So the point is, what we strive to do is we strive to use the transliterations. We strive to translate, right?
Like you
And
know, for example, I'm sorry to cut you off, but you're a student. I think I heard you said you're a student of Dr. Reketi Amen, right?
yeah,
And one of her endeavor is to revive the language so it can
yeah,
be used on a daily basis as well. So,
yeah.
but yeah, for the most part, with what you said, I agree for the most part. I agree for the most part.
Well,
Okay,
thank
that's
you for
lovely. But
some agreement.
oh yeah, no, I mean you know I've been listening, you know, to you for many years actually, for many years. You know, I think the first time I saw you on Sanita's platform, um, that was when that was maybe 2008, 2009. Back then, you were talking about SETI. You were saying, you know, SETI is a generalist. You know, back then you had sunglasses on and like a black leather jacket. So I've been
I'm
listening to you
older
for
now. I'm
yeah.
older. I'm older.
But it will be probably fruitful for you to use your own platform. Really, you know, you have to bust up, use your own platform, and then the people will come slowly but surely. You know, it takes time.
I'm 56 years old. My father died in 51. I'm 5 years past my father. I'm hoping I can make it to 70. Right? I'm hoping
If
I
you
can make it
invite,
to.
if you invite,
It,
you will get there.
yeah, there's a lot of things I need to do right. But the fact of the matter is, I am working on a book that will outlive me. I am not competing with the people that you think I'm competing with. I continuously try to talk to people like you who I do respect, right?
Appreciate
Who
that.
actually I
Likewise.
do respect your work, right? And what you're doing. I mean, you look like me in the past when we both had afros and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah. I
see
see
you in
the
the
videos.
museum. If you
Yeah.
if you turn and face away and you put me face away, you'd be like, is they the same? So we're very similar. I've had a different group of teachers, but I do respect you. But I don't respect people who walk to a statue and they tell you everything about the statue, but there's writing and can't read shit, right? I don't respect that shit, right? I don't respect that. And then you go to another place and there's more writing. And then, for example, when I'm trying to share my screen, am I sharing my screen?
No, it's not showing yet.
Okay, I'll share it. Okay, so and then they're mad at me because they're mad at me because I do have some skills, right?
Well, that's what happens, you know, when you have a skill and people don't have that skill, then a lot of time they will hate, you know, it comes
Yeah,
with the
and so
territory, you know.
so they're okay. So they have this ceremony, the Kemetics. I don't know. Do you practice religiously, Kemetic? Do you? Oh,
Oh,
I
well,
asked. I didn't get. Yes.
it, I don't really know how to answer that because religiously, in simple terms, I would say that I try to follow the path of my ancestors because there's some of the things that we see being done in Kemet. We kind of see similar things being practiced all over Africa as well. You know, the offering, the food offering, and certain sayings. You know, the fact that there's several deities or Necheru.
You believe
Uh,
in the deities? You believe in the Neteru?
well, it's difficult to answer that question because I usually say believing is not knowing. So if I say that I believe in the natural, I'm saying I don't know the natural. Some people say that the natural are principles. Some people say that they might
I'm
be
asking
human.
you.
Well, believing is not knowing. So if I say I believe, it's like saying I don't know. But let's say, like I have said not many times, that I have belief, but I usually keep them to myself because I cannot demonstrate the beliefs.
Okay.
But I don't think that anybody can argue that those people that we talk about, those Nesu, those kings of Kemet, and the inhabitants of Kemet, it's safe to say that they believed in those things that we are talking about now, that we call Necheru or gods. Would you
Okay,
agree?
because they believe, yes, and I read what Mbidi said that Africans are notoriously religious or spiritual, um, uh, but that doesn't mean that since they had the belief, I have to have the same belief, but I can have
True,
respect,
true.
and
And you
and
know,
I
I'm
can see
glad you
the
said that.
journey, and I
And
can see
and
the journey and where it changes. I can
and
actually see the journey, huh?
and I'm glad you're saying that, brother Reggie. And there's a huge dichotomy with you. What you're saying, it doesn't mean that you have to share the same belief, but you have to have some respect. But that clip that I played in the beginning, you say, you know, Horace and all that BS and blah, blah, and I'm saying BS, you know, I'm being polite, but you use the word,
Yeah,
the
because I'm
front word.
talking, but yeah, because I'm talking about the people that push it. That I know that they don't know, they really don't know what they're talking about. Show me your sources. So I'm not talking about the respect for what the Africans respected. I'm talking about the new tradition. I think I've tried to say that all throughout this show. Like if you don't read the Medu Neter, you don't show the text, right? Then how do you know? Then how do I know what you're talking about? So I'm talking about groups of people who are just believers, like they believe the KJV or they believe the Quran or they believe the Torah and the Tanakh, and they never investigate anything else around it.
Mm.
So don't you're not. And maybe this is a show that helps people understand what I'm saying. If you know that most of these people can't read jibber jabber of anything, right? And then I'm supposed to believe them, and I'm supposed to be quiet when they're trying to create a new religion, but they're really just empowering their own selves. They're making money off of black people, and then when the black people come and say, and they got all these so-called Kemetic names, and they don't even know anything about the name, and they don't know anything about the text, and they can't read it, anything like that. I'm not supposed to say, that's not what my teacher, Dr. Ben, taught. That's not what Dr. Clark taught. That's not what Alana Karenga teaches. That's not what Jacob Carruthers teaches. That's not what Asa Hilliard teaches. That's not what Theophilus Benga teaches. And it's definitely not what Shekanta Diab taught. But you are lying as if these people actually taught you to teach a religion instead of trying to help you to learn the information. And you're lying on them.
But the religion is a part of it.
The religion is man-made,
You can
right?
say
So
that.
it's Negro-made.
You can say that, but then it will be down to interpretation. You know, of course.
No, then we argue that. We argue that with the text, my dude. We don't act dumb,
Well, okay,
like
okay. Now, dua Ra, praise or adoration to Ra. Would you classify that under religion or not?
um if
I would,
no. First of all, if you say
unless we
dua
want to use the word
ra,
spiritual. Yes.
if you say dua ra, right? First, are you trying to educate me on what the text says?
I'm
That's
not
the
trying to
first thing.
educate you. I'm
No, I'm
just.
not talking to you personally.
Oh, okay,
I'm
okay.
saying the person who says dua ra, okay, are you trying to educate, or is that person trying to educate me on what the text actually says, or is a person saying that I should worship Ra, right? Recitations of Ra. That's basically what Dua Ra means. The recitations of Ra. So you're trying to enlighten me on what the text of a particular text, or you were just pretty much saying that I should believe in what Ra says. Not you. I'm just talking about the person that I am getting. So now, if there's a ceremony, and look, I've had some growth. I've been part of lots of traditions along my way, right? And I tried to figure out if this is true or not. And so in the past, you might actually see me in my younger days. Look, if the whole community is doing something, I'm probably going to do it. It's like if you go to an Arab country and then there's the Adhan and everybody's on their knees. I probably don't want to be the only one standing up, right? Like
Yeah.
if I went to the temple of the Tuba Mosque, I think I want to. I think I want to. I think I want to wob. I think I want to wash my hands and I want to wash my feet and take off my shoes. I don't think I want to walk through the temple of Tuba Mosque in Senegal with my sneakers on. I don't think I want to do that. And I didn't do it because Dr. Clark took us there. Me and Dr. Jeffries, we washed our feet and we walked through the Tuba Mosque barefooted.
Brother Reggie, at this point, if we are black people who are religious, or very religious, or extremely religious with Kemet, it's a great advancement already. Because
I disagree.
fine, you have the right to. It's much better than, we have, for example, Dr. Wesley Mohammed, PhD, who comes to the community talking about the Arabs of the 7th century were black. And we have the Sunnah, we have the Hadith, like Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, well, Muhammad is clearly
Sahih. You have Sahih. You have Sahih hadiths, not just any hadiths. You have the Sahih. But go ahead.
yeah, Sahih. And for those who don't know, it can be translated as authentic. And
Yeah.
Muhammad is clearly described as a white man, and now people coming with that linguistic acrobatic talking about Abiyad doesn't mean white, but it means black, and it's crazy. And they like to talk about what's the name again? Ibn Mandur, Lisan al Arab, talking about when the Arabs use that word, it doesn't mean. I mean, they made a distinction between themselves, the Arabs, and the Romans. Just like I said many times, someone from Italy will have a much darker tan than someone from Iceland or Norway or Denmark. That's no brainer. You know what I'm saying? But even in Lisan al Arab by Ibn Mandur, when you look at the definition of white, it would say Dida Aswad, or maybe the feminine form Sawad. And Dida means the opposite. Ibn Mandur says clearly that white is the opposite of black. That kills the argument already. That
You're
kills it.
correct. You are correct. And so what you're doing though is you're making a scholarly argument, has nothing to do with religion. And this is what we try to do. Now the religious people who are in the Kemet faith, who don't read the text, who don't go to the library, who don't go to the museum, who's never ever 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 been to Kemet or been to the place that they call Kemet, they want to talk their talk. You ain't never been there, right? Or you want to
Well,
be a priest, but a Hebrew priest. He reads the Torah in the language. An Arab imam, he reads the language in Arabic, right? But
well,
we have priests.
A Kemetic priest should know the meta nature, and that's something that I've said. I've mentioned a name, but he's working on it. I can tell he knows some of it, and he will learn. He will learn.
Well, then how could he? But how could anybody call themselves a priest and they don't read from the jump street. So you're saying I'm gonna be a priest. I'm gonna be a priest, and then I'm gonna learn the language.
Dear brother Reggie, I see where you're coming from. I understand. You have your standards. People have different standards.
I don't have a standard. A priest is you have some connection to a god or deity. So what? You can't read the language. You claim this, and you can't read the language of your god and your deity. You hey. So I can't fight. I can't fight.
You can make the argument. I mean, the way you made it, you know what I'm saying, it's nothing wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? The demeanor is good. The articulation is good. Not in the sense of how you say it, but but actually the words that you choose to say. You know, I mean, it's fine. It's a fair assessment. You know, and I share the same sentiment as well. But you know, hey, we're only humans. You know. I mean,
hey, but the thing about it, some people are taking money. Some people are.
Reggie Tillman is taking money. She's giving classes. Bonucci also is getting.
No, they're teaching. No, they're teaching a skill set. They're not teaching religion.
Wow.
No. If you take Dr. Ricchetti's class, and if you take Baba Bonacci's class, and Fadishi, you're gonna learn to read the Meta Netra.
But you know, you have pastors and imams, you know, and you use them as example. Yes, they know the language of the religion that they are dealing with, but they're getting money too. They're getting paid, and particularly, you know, pastors and ministers and so on. So it's not really a bad thing. We cannot say it's a bad thing.
Of course, it's a bad thing.
Well, even if they.
Because they can't defend the work in Greek and Aramaic and in Hebrew. They can't defend anything. They don't know the history of that Paul, who wrote most of the verses in the New Testament, the Negro Paul never met Christ, never seen any of Christ's miracles, never seen Christ's
everybody knows
crucifixion. No, people don't know that. They think that he's one of the
apostle.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he hunted down other Hebrews that believed in a different version, right, of his, right. So he didn't. What's his name? Some Peter. Something just. Jesus is so-called maybe brother, maybe physical brother, James? Or maybe James. Yeah, James the Just, right? James the Just. Everybody that Paul deals with, it ultimately gets killed, right? So, but he's the end, but he gets to write. So their God lets the person who is demonizing the people. He gets the one, and then Paul now becomes Christ-like. His head gets cut off or whatever, and everywhere it falls is a spring. He baptizes a lion, and he escapes and kick the birds.
But you see, brother, I like what you said. Would you rather our people worldwide follow what you just said about Paul and his people, or would you rather they follow the Kemetic tradition? No matter how. No,
I want our people to be scientific, to systematically be involved in acquisitions of skills and knowledge for the best interests of our people, where the best interest of our people is what is conducive to the survival of black people. And I understand what you mean, but you see, the Nation of Islam, their teaching is not scientific. You know, their core theology is not scientific at all. Far Muhammad being the son of a jet black man, I mean, that's almost laughable. You know, you would never right,
have...
but here's the thing: is again, I tell you, again, I am in New York, right?
No, hold on. I understand. I'm not asking you to criticize them. All I want to say is that they are not scientific. Their core theology.
That's teaching. All religion is not scientific. Not just them.
But they are doing their thing, don't they? We can do our thing as well, you know. We
Oh, so we want to get into it's the game, right?
no,
But
but
I can't criticize them when I'm in the same game.
no. But once again, I'm not asking you to criticize them, but we have the records for Kemet. You see, if we talk about Rames,
Again, I keep telling you, and I don't get you trying to classify the whole period of Kemet, and we just started using the word 20, 25, 30 years ago, right? It wasn't all Kemet. Kemet comes really as a community in the ninth and
yeah, no,
tenth dynasty.
people have the right to choose Kemet because if you want to go back, we can always go back.
But it's factually incorrect.
Why?
So what did they call
Why?
themselves first? What did they call themselves first? What did they call the empire in the beginning? In the beginning, what did they call it? What did they call? What did they call a palace? You know, what did they call a palace?
Aha,
And home. What did they call? What did they call it?
home, house, bed.
No, no. They call what? No, 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 no. That pair odd, right? That becomes later in the when they were.
Not Per A, which became Pharaoh,
Well,
but
pair
Per,
odd means the great house.
the
It
great
don't
house
mean
indeed. But Per means house. So you agree with me?
the great house, but they called it Henu. Henu, HNW. Henu was the glyph is a sheepskin, right? Or cow skin. Henu, and then there was Tawi, right?
And you see there, you pronounce the W as ooh.
I don't care. So what you want? How you want me to pronounce it?
No,
No, okay, I'm gonna pronounce it like the way you want to pronounce it.
no, that's the way
How do you pronounce it?
I will pronounce it this way.
Tawi means
The two lands, the dual
right. So we is the dual. So ta is land and we is the dual,
the
right?
dual, yes, yes.
So and the u is a plural multiple, right? Commit and so that's just part of the code, the code, the script.
No, that's this is not a matter. It's not the same as putting the e between the consonant. This is written. You know, just like when we have Ramesu.
Yeah, we have
Sometimes we have we don't have the u at the end, but we do have Ramesu written. Even though most of us say Ramses, but it's really Ramesu.
It's
So
Ramesu.
the vowel sound is actually there. You know, just like
Right.
in Dua. When we
Because
say
it's not
Dua,
a name, it's actually a spell. It's a text. It's a spell. These are name spells, right? So they are actually
it is
sentences.
a name. It is a name. We find it inside of Shenu or Cartouche. So it is a name.
Right, but when we look at these the names for the kings, right? They're actually spells.
Well, you can say that, but they're still names.
Yeah, yeah, but okay, so we're not gonna go back and forth on that. So the issue is okay. So when you see something like this, right? When you see this coffin, so this coffin has it's a rectangle, so it has four sides, right? It has it has the sides in the front that we don't see right now, and then we said what. So this coffin text is the text where they build their ritual from, their in Nezarec stuff. This is where they build it from. But if you read what the text says, if you read in the beginning, unfortunately I cut this off, but it's the hotel.
Abju DF Peret Heru Ka Aped
Yeah,
Menechet and
yeah,
this
sis,
Alabaster and
right, sis,
yes,
right,
yes, yes, indeed.
and, right, and then it's the
Incense,
hash,
Necher,
right, natural.
Merhet,
So
oil.
yeah. Okay, great. So you are competent, right? So you get the meaning of this. Basically, in the beginning, it's the Hotep Dinar Sud, right? And then the offerings to the great, the Ah and the Neb, right? The great, right? Ab, Neb, right? And then of Abju, and we can go through this and we can see the city, the Nuit glyph and DF. And then he gives this para. this offering, this
Mm-hmm.
prayer, this voice offering, right?
Voice offering, yes.
And then we give the offerings, right? And then to the praise of the netter, and we can do this, right? Because we
It's
can,
Heseb, is it? Forgot it. I think it's Heseb, something like that. But before the nature,
yeah, people, yeah,
I
well,
think it's a
yeah,
triliteral, but
yeah, the hesh or heseb,
yeah,
the
something like that.
the praise on the praise to the netter, as
Hmm.
right. So we can get through this, and then if we want, then we can get the translation, right, which is
Mm.
basically the stuff that me and you just actually did, uh, talked about, right?
Hmm.
So then at some point, um, okay, so then they start talking about the Amaki over here,
Inaki.
right? The Amaki, you see the Amaki, and then over here, uh, you see the recitations,
Jednedu
and, right?
in, yes.
Yeah. So you see this. Okay. So the point the point of it is that when they start saying Inezarek, Inezarek Geb or Anuk Geb, right? The fact of the matter is, the problem with that is what's happening here is that you're giving offerings, and then at some point, the deity actually, or they speak for the deity, right?
Hmm.
Where it says recitations by Imset, right?
Hmm.
But Imset is talking. I have come that I might total for you the limbs forever,
Hmm.
right? But the problem is what they do is they say Inezarek Geb, Anuk Geb. They say that they are the divine. Well, you ain't you, and even in the Kemetic cosmology and funeral thing, you ain't divine until you become where you become over here, where you become Mak Keru.
Ma'akeru, yes.
You're never divine on earth. You're only divine in death. You can never be divine in on earth unless you're the king, or unless you're a great elder, right? You're never divine. So for they say that they're divine, well, I'm Anuk Geb, I'm Geb. No, Negroes, you ain't Geb. You ain't Makaru yet. You ain't none of that. So even from the context of the
Oh, it's funny.
yeah.
I've been hearing Anuk all the time, and it's just now I realize it's Inek. But
Yeah,
and I was like, where did they get the Anuk from? Okay, it's Inek. Okay,
it's just the
okay.
way we pronounce it,
Yes, I get it now. Yeah, okay, okay.
right?
But I mean, this it's only right. If you see something that's wrong, something that you don't agree with, it's only right. But the way you're doing it now, I mean, it's 10
Okay, beat
times
me up.
better.
I'm the boogeyman. Like. But Dr. Ben said it worse. So
No, no, no,
fine,
no, no,
huh?
no, no. Dr. Ben didn't say worse. I mean, the way you express yourself, as we heard in the beginning of the video, I mean, then Dr. Ben didn't go like, I mean, I didn't hear everything that Dr. Ben said, but I've heard him many times, and,
Well,
he wasn't
I
going like that. He wasn't
check
going out
this.
like that.
Check this out, my dude,
Yeah.
my good brother, my Weber, right? Check this out, right?
Yeah.
I've had the chance to speak with Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark in private, right?
Oh, that's something else. That's something
So,
else.
so, so,
We're all
uh,
humans.
So I've had a chance to see Dr. Ben with some of the so-called leaders of this, and I've seen Dr. Ben laugh at them and tell them, "Are they finished?" I remember in ASCAC we used to always, we start our some of our things reading this the Hosea, right? You read the Hosea, right? These are
No,
the
I haven't.
Right. Well, the Hosea is a collection of lots of the texts are in Merriam Litchum's work, but Malana
Oh,
Karenga and
okay.
Dr. Jacob Carruthers put it together in a more African poetic type of form.
Mm.
So if we
The
you,
literature of
yeah, the
FHM Jesus,
literature,
right? Yeah. Mm.
things like if you're a leader and command many strive for excellence, so all that you do so that no fault can be found, right? For in the end it is mine, and stuff like that. The things from Ptahhotep and all this stuff is in the Hosea, right? So Dr. Ben might let some of that pass, but but he just pretty much So what text are you reading from? Why are you? Okay, it's wisdom text. Okay, fine. The wisdom text, I don't think Dr. Ben had a little bit problems with. But then when some people get out there and walking around with the Book of the Dead, look, how many Book of the Deads are there?
Oh, I don't think we can count.
Oh, thank you so much.
I have the wisdom of Ptahhotep. I have the French with the transliteration from Christian Jacques, and I have the English translation. But that's one of the greatest thing that our
Right.
people can read because they will understand. The Peret Emheru of Ani, they will not understand up front. I mean, immediately. But the wisdom of Ptahhotep, I mean,
Okay, so
one of
me
the
and you, we have agreements. It's just that listen, you ain't got as many battle scars. You've seen a shark, shark got all these bite marks on him and stuff, fins missing and stuff. I fought a lot of battles. You at some point, you'll see. But in this time, I can have a conversation with you. The fact of the matter is, if you can't read any of this, right? If you're looking at this and you don't see Jed Medu, right? You don't see any of this, right? You don't see MSET, you don't see any of this stuff, right, over here, right? You don't see any of this. And you're gonna walk by this coffin and you're gonna give me a whole lecture and you ain't gonna read no text. So you
and
can.
I understand what you're saying, but in one hand, if you're of the opinion that someone cannot be a Kemetic priest if he doesn't know the meta nature, then I definitely understand what you're saying. But on the other hand, it should not sound like someone cannot talk about Kemet if he doesn't know the meta
You can
nature.
talk
Because
about it, but don't
on,
act like you can do spells and don't act like you can.
well, they
Don't.
don't do spells. They will claim to. I've never been in their
Oh, okay,
temples and so
okay.
on, but I would be surprised if they claim to make up spells. I would expect that they will recite spells, but it sounds to me like those Muslims when you talk about Islam, and at one point like, do you know the Arabic? And if you dare say no, if you're unlucky enough to say no, that you cannot understand. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes when they corner, they like to use that excuse. Or even when we want to talk about, for example, the color of Prophet Muhammad, they like to bring that up as well. Or you don't know the Arabic. But at one point, other people have translated the fair bit
Yeah,
of
but that they're only doing that to people who think so. You believe that Arabic is the word of God. I mean God's words. I don't. So it's nothing. It's just words to me. So get to your point. So get to your point, because I don't believe in that. You're taking on the basis. You're thinking you're talking to an Arab, or I'm not an Arab. I'm not a Muslim. I don't. You gotta prove some things to me, right? Now I've been in their lands. So I've been in Egypt. I passed through Jordan. I've been in Senegal, and so I know what it is to keep my mouth shut, because there's more of them than me. But intellectually, they can't do that. But if you're reading something like this and you don't know if who they're talking about, Dua and Tef, right? If you're looking at this stuff and you don't know what's going on, hey man, kick the birds, bro. Kick the birds. Like you don't even know the person's name, right? If you go over here and you say, well, who are they talking about, right? And you can't read the person's name over here. You don't even know where the name starts, right?
but that's a reality for the majority of our people.
Okay, so then
you
so
know
why
and like even stuff that's in English, like Muslims, for example, so many of them don't know that according to their own sunnah, according to Sahih Bukhari, Muhammad married Aisha when she was 6 years old, and he consummated the marriage with her when she was 9 years old. Many Muslims don't even know that about their own prophet. You see?
Right, because that's the realm of the believers. But I'm criticizing now. If I'm going to criticize the Arabs, if I'm going to criticize the Christians, if I'm going to criticize the Hebrews, now I'll be disingenuous if something pops up that makes the same lack of sense than their stuff. I'll be disingenuous, and so all I'm just doing is co-signing something that is black, and I'm not using the same I'm not using the same critique, so then I can't critique them. But if I can critique, if I can make critiques on my whole thing is, if you can't read it, what you talking about? What are you talking about? So you can read it in English over here. You can read it. You can read it in English over here. I got that. Okay, I got where. Show me where it says from here to here.
Well, of course, most of our people will not be able to do that. But we have some of our people who write book about Kemet, and they break down, they break it down, And I'm not saying that to say, okay, don't learn the Medu Neter, because some people have. That's not what I'm
No,
saying.
but you got priests. We're not when you talk about the Kemetic people. I'm not talking about the people interested in the field. I'm not talking about the people.
So you're talking about the Kemetic priests.
I'm talking about the priests and their adherents, right? If you can't read this and you don't know that it's talking about happy, if you can't read it and it's talking about nut, right? If you how can I say, if you're looking at this stuff and you walk by this, right, which is a coffin text, which is supposed to be holy, right, and you can't and you can't you're looking at this and you don't know it's Kabesanef, right? Kick the birds. I'm not trying to hear you.
Well, that sounds still much better if you say, well, if you're a Kemetic priest and you cannot read that, kick rocks. Rather than saying, I bang on Kemetic people.
I bang on those who call themselves religiously connected or divine and can't read the divine words written by their ancestors.
The Medu Neter.
They're reading over here. Look at this. This is something really simple. Sorry, this is really something simple. It's really something simple. Let's see if I can enlarge this. I can't. There you go.
To us, but not to them,
I don't care. Then don't act like you some.
Jed Medu in Usir.
Oh sure, cut myself.
Tawi. I mean, but you need to walk before you can fly.
No, then take a class, but don't call yourself something that you're. Please don't call yourself something that you're not.
I get your point. I get your point, brother. I understand.
I mean, you look at something like this and you say,
if you could articulate it like that all the time, I mean, it would be.
I do. You just don't. You just hard on me, bro.
No,
you
I'm saying that
mad,
it's in regards to the video that I played in the beginning.
So most people know. Most people know I'm a nice guy. Most people know I'm a nice guy.
We know that. You're very.
Most people I know, but I'm not.
And that's why I was so surprised when I saw the video. I'm like, dang,
Yeah, because I'm banging because it was a reason that I was banging.
What was the reason?
I don't remember at the time. I don't want to talk about people. But
man.
yeah,
That's
but,
why it would be good to at some point, it's almost as if people are using you. If you get your own platform, trust me, the people will be there. You could give Medu Neter classes. You could do that.
I used to teach Medu Neter, right? Let me say I used to teach Medu Neter.
You should probably.
But they didn't want to listen to me. They wanna listen to the priest. Right?
Yeah,
they don't want to listen to me. I'm older than you.
Some people will, I know that you are. Some people will say that's jealousy, Some people will say
that, so they can say whatever they want. They can say yes.
If they want to listen to the priest, let them listen to the priest.
You know what? I say, you know what? I'll just do it in scholarship. I'll say, okay, you done went to these priests and you done did this and that. Can you read this? Can you read it? You can, but can you read it? Can you read? Oh, you're going to look at the picture and you're going to start reading the picture. No, but you're not going to be able to read Imaki, right? You're not going to be able to read Imaki and Aset, right? You're not going to be able to read that, right? You're not going to, right, you're correct, Karaset, right? You're not going to be able to read that. So you don't even know what's going on, right?
So, brothers and sisters, if you don't
you're not going to be able to read this.
If you don't want if you don't want Brother Reggie to bang on you, then learn the Medu Neter.
Yeah, like you, like you. So me and you, we laughing. If you go over here where there is no picture, where there is no picture, so we know who we're talking about, right?
there's not much room for interpretation.
For
Imaki
you and
had
me, for you and me, huh? Say
no
what?
for not just you and me, but if there's no picture, indeed, if there's just the glyphs, there's no room for interpretation. If there's pictures, of course they can say, okay, this is what it's supposed to show. I mean, I mean, even this, you know,
Yeah.
when you see
So
it from the front, it's like that. But that's what people do. But yeah, Imaki had nebet het.
yeah. So so that's why. Listen, man. That's why I'm on your show, and that's why I'm
Ma
talking to you.
aferu. Mm. But we can reach some people. At the end of the day,
Yeah, you know how we
brother.
reach people by teaching them how to read it instead of faking the funk, huh?
Well,
That's
that's what I do. That's what
Yeah,
I
and that's
do.
why you do, and that's why I'm
And
on your show.
mm,
But you go and put the you go and put the look, man, look, I am not banging on my brother Jabari. I love Jabari. I love his wife, right? I'm not banging personally on him. I'm banging on the concept, right? If there's something like this, right, which is not super hard meta nature, but it does take some time to find some vocabulary words in it, right? It does take some time, right, to look at the some of the vocabulary words. But with some basic meta nature, you can get a sense of at least who the subject is and basically what they're talking about, right? Me and you, we can agree, right?
yes, of
Finding
course.
things like the two different Enneads, the great Ennead, right? The great
Suggest
Ennead, right? And then the lesser Ennead might be a little bit more problem,
technical. Yeah.
right? A little bit more pep, because most people don't know that there is a great Ennead and there's a difference between the lesser Ennead, right?
Mm,
So that would be just a little bit more. That would be a little bit more technical. But the
mm.
fact of the matter is, me and you, we cannot walk through. We cannot walk past this. You know what spirituality is? You know what real spirituality is? Me and you, we really can't walk by this without starting to read it.
Mm.
We're just innate to it, right?
Mm.
But they can walk by it and keep it moving. You understand the difference?
Mm.
So I don't like to use the word spirituality in a sense, but me and you, we cannot walk by this without perceiving something.
Mm.
They do. They do. They walk by. Oh, it's just a coffin. No, 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 no. Nah, Negro, it's just not the coffin. It's the coffin. Yeah.
Brother Reggie. You should really consider it. And I understand you writing,
Consider what?
giving Metal Nature classes again.
Oh,
You
absolutely
should.
not. To help the
What?
nuts? No, no, no. See,
But
here's the
but but,
thing.
but
Here's the thing. Here's the thing is what I have found is that people borrow my information, they don't cite me, and then they spit on me. Ha! So you know
yeah,
what?
yeah, yeah. But hold on. Maybe I did not clarify that. When I suggest that you should maybe consider giving Metal Nature classes again, I mean getting paid for it.
No,
Charging a
now you're
fee.
going to pay. Listen,
No, but hold on,
I'd
brother.
rather invest in
But
cryptocurrency. Get out of here.
no, I'm not
Get out
saying
of
that
here.
as in doing it as a job or expecting to be able to make a living out of it. But if you spend the
Hey, check this
time to
out.
teach,
I was teaching Metal Nature. I teach basic Meta Nature for $50 to $75, right? If you learn Meta Nature from me, you can read the first page of the Book of the Dead in maybe 6 hours. The Purdim Haru of Anui. You can read it. You can read the first page. You can have enough to read the first page in 6 hours. All is hocus pocus. No, I can teach you how to read the first page of it in 6 hours. By 6 hours of 6 hours of classes. And I was teaching out for a low price, but look, I didn't get a lot of acceptance, and I'm not going to beg. So you know what? I put my skill set aside. But they can walk by this, not you, but them. They will see it, and so when they see it on this is beautiful right here. I wish this is long, right? So this is really hard to see, right? So in the Met Gallery, because we go into the galleries, right? There is this text right here, and this text the most beautiful coffin in the Met is for this particular woman,
Well,
right?
here we have the careset that people like to say is Christ.
Oh yeah, that's why. That my brother. See. There's a difference, right? So you'll pick out important part, but this is this is to the one of the adherents or supporters of Mental. So it's in the gallery within that period, and me and we would know immediately. Oh, all right, we can. You can read it without the European standards. You can read it as Nosut D, right? Nosut Hotep D, or you can read it
Hotep Dinesu
Hotep
or
D
Dinesu,
Nosut,
yeah.
and then you get over here, and
Tep
then you
Ju,
let's stop.
Tep.
No, let's slow down for them.
Hmm.
Let's slow down for them, right? So then we see Inpu, Inip, right? Which we pronounce as Inpu, and we know it because of the determinative.
Exactly.
Then we see the
Tep.
chap, right? And then we see the
F.
duaf, right? And then we see the
Inu.
right? And then we see the oot, right? The
That just said.
mummification, right? The oot is the mummification, and then we get to, I'm sorry, right? And then we get over here. Dealing with, I got to do it with two hands now. Sorry. So then we get.
That just said.
Um,
Neb that just said.
right? So then, right? Okay, and so then we get to where we are at,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Keres, right? And then we get all spooked out because,
There we go. That's where Christ come from.
right? But we see the KR, we see the bones, and then we see the S, and then we see the
laying down.
wait. Be careful now. You know why? Because this will tell you who's laying down, right? So that's why I got my brother. See, I'm on your show because I love you, right? So now we have Nefer, and we have a T. So who's laying down?
Can you make it larger? I see the nefer, but the
You
is
see
it
the-
the loaf of bread after?
Yeah. We see Neferet. So it ain't a man laying down, is it?
Oh, well, yes,
Right?
it's feminine.
M, and then we have we over here we have Per.
But after the loaf of bread, we have the R, right? The M,
Right, Neferet.
and but then the
Neferet.
leaf after. Oh, is it the E after the R? Is it the reed leaf?
After the R, this is
No,
Neferet. M.
Okay, I did not see the R. Okay, yeah, M, and then is it the leaf?
I don't. Where's the leaf at? I don't see the leaf.
After the R, just right after. Is that the reed leaf?
Yeah, I don't
looks-
see.
Looks
I don't.
like it to me.
I
looks
think
like
it could be okay. I can't see it from this glyph, and I'm sorry I don't have a better piece, but we do have
Then we have
Per,
the boat,
right?
and then
S,
the pear.
but we have S Per, so it's her house.
Yes.
It's
Pear
her
S,
house,
Yes.
right? And then we have the
ripple of
Netriket. Over
The-
here
on the
we
bottom.
have Netriket.
bottom.
You can't see it, but I can
No,
see it. The
yeah.
Netriket, and then we have the Perkaru again. Right? And then we have the care, Inpu, and then we have the praise, right? And then we have the divine booth or the Netcher and this booth, right? I can look down here to see how they pronounce it. And then we have the Imaki.
Imaki.
Oh, right. So
Imakit. That's because it's
Imaki, right?
Yes.
So we now we're talking more of a female, right?
female. Then we have Nesut. Watet.
Yeah, so Soul One, right? The Royal Soul One, right? And then we have Head Heru,
Het Heru.
right?
Chair, the priest.
right. She's Head Heru, and she's the Hemneter, right? So she's a priestess, and then we have her name, which is Hinet, right? I'm sorry, you can't see that, and she is Makaru, right? So me and my good brother, right? What we have done is that we de-spooktified it. But if you walk to the spooky people, they touch it. They might give some offerings to it, a voice offering, a prayer, but they spooked out. They can't read none of this, so they missed the whole thing. But uh, they're the ones that you need to go to learn. Yeah. Let's say something else. So here's the thing: is me and him, we're not trying. Like we're not trying. But the spooked out. Well, so they make it so that it takes you years to understand this. So here is basically what was on that sahu or caress or whatever you want to call it. It's the prayer, and it simply says, you can read it as Nosut Hotep D or Hotep D Nosut. Then you better know this, because this is what y'all believe in. Osir, Neb, Jedu, Neta'a, right?
Neb Abju.
Right? Right? There you go. Right? Neb Abju, DF, Pekeru, and then the
Ka Aped.
Right. The ses, right? Mehet, right? So they should know that.
And you know what's coming next? I love it because we like to say and all that good stuff. And to me, it's the same thing. Neferet, Wabet.
All things good and pure.
Yeah. And we usually say and all that good stuff.
Anket, right? All Nebet, Neferet, right? And these are all feminine. All these things are feminine, right? Yes. So it's feminine. Nebet, Neferet, Wabet, Anket, right? With a T. Now,
and sometimes they don't write the feminine. They don't put the
right. But it's a very beautiful feminine, and this is a very beautiful illustration. But show me why this is. Show me where there's an A in here. Show me. I mean, maybe you can get it from Coptic, right? The A is in Coptic, but you can't say that the language of.
Well, according to translation, it's the ayin, the n, and the h. So.
Well, you want to be technical. Most of the time we see this and we don't even know. Well, the Ankh does appear. I had to correct myself. The Ankh does appear roughly in the first dynasty, right? It begins to appear in the first dynasty, but not I can't see it before that, right? So then we can go on. So Ankh,
we don't even really know what the Ankh is. Some people say it's the uterus. Some people say it's a sandal strap. But we know what it represents. It stands for life, and that's the most important.
Or living.
Yes, life, living, and so on.
Right. So then we go on and Netcher, and then we got Nkain, right? The Ka
of. The Ka of, yes.
Right, the Amaki.
Senusret.
Yeah, Useret.
That the Greeks call Sesostris.
That's right.
And then we have Aheru, justified or true of voice.
So you're a priest. You more priest than them.
But
you're not trying to be a priest. What you're trying to do is just trying to read it for the people, right? You're just trying to read it for the people, and they can get chills and spooked out and all of that. But all you just did was help them understand what's going on, right? So we don't like to do magic tricks. Let's just learn to read it, right? Let's just learn to read the stuff, right? And don't get fooled by people trying to spook you out, right? Because they have a skill set. So the problem is like with magic is a skill set, right? Well, we have a skill set, but we are not trying to do magic. I'll stop my screen. So I think
you should really, really reconsider.
I'm your brother. We can.
I'm saying reconsidering. I don't.
You teach it for. Listen, I write.
Yeah, if it's not middle nature class, just general Black or African history, because
I do teach. I just don't teach on YouTube.
You have well, if you get compensated for it, then that's good, because like you have the cash app here,
Yeah, ain't
and
nobody give
many
me no
times
cash out, so
I know,
they can kick rocks.
and I've heard you many times say that, and it's about the same. I have a few loyal people, but trust me, I've been doing live stream for hours and hours and hours, and people don't even think, okay, let me
Right, but
just
I'm not gonna take the abuse. You see, I don't want
uh,
to take the abuse. My whole thing is, guess what? It'll stay hidden, secret, spiritual, and you can go and you can buy the idols, right? Because you're idol worshippers. You can go and buy the idols and things like that, because those are all idols, right? You can be an idol worshiper, or you can learn the language. Yeah, you could. How can I say? You can hang with us, right?
well,
You
give
can
them a
follow
way,
my forever.
give them a way to reach you, brother. Give them a way. Try it. Why don't you try it?
Bro, I'm one of
People,
the bro. I got more YouTube videos out here
yeah, but I'm
on
not talking
Kemet.
about like you know how to use StreamYard, right?
Yeah, I know how to use StreamYard. I
So
know how to use. I
that's what.
don't, bro. I come on your channel because
Mhm.
you have views, and you was aching up to bang on me, and I thought I would finally come on your channel, and we would talk. Me and you, we're not arguing. We have
Mhm.
some minor disagreements,
Yeah.
but but I have tried to prove my case,
Mm.
right? There's a difference between you who's doing the work and then the spooked out people and the adherents of the spooked out people. You just think that that's a good start. I don't think that that's a good start. I think learning Medunecha, learning the text. I think that that's a better way to yeah.
Yeah, but
You read primaries. Yeah, I know
yeah,
you.
yeah,
But you're
but
younger than me. How could you tell? How could you? You're trying to give an elder advice,
yeah,
right?
but brother. Let me tell you, for example. I mean, sometimes sometimes you can get advice from younger people. When I started teaching the Medu, I was doing it on my platform for free. There was barely any people, so I stopped because you know I'm like I'm taking the time to put the slides together, and people are not even there. Then one brother, Kafra, he wrote in a comment, "Bro, I'm interested in the lesson. Money is not an issue," and I'm like, "Okay." He's ready to pay. I prepared the slide, and that's how I started. He's no longer taking the classes now. He has a family and all that. You know what I'm saying? Every now and then he pops up when I go live stream. But other people have signed up, and the rest is history. I've been teaching to people in America, brothers and sisters. I've been
I take
teaching.
people to museums.
I understand, but you don't get paid for that.
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Yes, I
good. That's
do.
good. That's good.
I take
And
people
and
to
and
museums.
and, and, and that's part of the game as well, because I mean, if we do stuff like that and we don't get compensated, we the so-called conscious community. I've said it before. It's the worst
No, they want to
demographic.
buy jewelry and
Yeah, yeah.
they want to buy things with status
Alcohol,
and stuff like
drug,
that.
designer clothes.
Yeah,
It's worth it to put money in it. But
yeah,
but
but
but,
I
but the
don't. Listen,
information.
I am a look. I'm a public intellectual. I do give back, right? Don't worry about me trying to make a career of this. I would rather my cryptocurrency gets on unlocked, right? I would rather that, and then I'll have money to do it for free when I want to do it, right? I'm not worried about. I'm 56, going on 57 years old. I don't. I'm not. I'm through. I'm done with that stuff. I'm not young anymore, right? I'm not young anymore. Some people are doing it for pussy. Oh, you don't want me to talk about that, right?
Well, it's a
Right? They go
reality.
they
It's
they
a
go through
reality.
the conferences. They got the best gear. They doing it. They don't. Nah, I'm not doing. I'm not doing it for that. They doing it for
But
the ego and for people to come up to them and
it's true.
man,
It's true. But
uh-uh.
even if you're not interested with getting financially compensated, you
They
can
don't
definitely.
deserve it. They haven't
No,
proven
I'm not
to
talking
me
about
that
them.
they
Yeah, but
the people who want to ask me questions who come right, I will give them. I have always helped them. Right.
you can build your platform. Trust me, it's something you
I'm
can do.
not okay.
Mm.
Let's stop this. I'm not trying to build a platform. Let's stop this. Okay, so we don't have to go through that anymore. I'm not trying to build a platform. Um, what I find is that they use my information against me. They take it out of context. I'm not trying to do that. Okay, so can we cut that out? But I have come on your show. Is there any more questions? Is there any more questions that you?
Well, no, no, I'm good. I mean, really, here it's like in 5 minutes it will be midnight, and I have to go to
Yeah.
work tomorrow
Okay.
morning because I work full time. You know, I don't make a living out of anything else, but I work full time.
Okay. So I appreciate your time. I just didn't want you to
But thank you for coming. Do
bang
a
on
send.
me.
No, I wasn't gonna do that. Yeah,
No, because you have some questions, and
mm,
and those are legitimate questions. And I do follow you. You see me on your chat every now and then and stuff like that. I do follow
mm.
you. I
I
respect
appreciate that.
you. I
Thank
just
you.
don't
Likewise,
owe.
likewise.
Yeah, I don't owe. I just don't owe people what they think I owe them, right?
Mm,
So my whole thing is and I'm not trying to be arrogant. I'm just saying there's text up there. Can you read the text? If you can't read the text, right? I mean, kick rocks. I mean, you want to follow whoever you want to follow them, right?
mm,
But you're not gonna. When you go to the museum, you're gonna, it's gonna be embarrassing, right? Learn to read the primaries, right? Like, 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 Look, all the text in the books are all nice, but when you get into the museum, you freeze, right? And you feel frustrated. So you have to create a kind of a perception, a business, an idea of what's going on. It's not that I don't respect human beings who are practitioners. I do, but I know when they fooling people. I know when I know when they can't read, when they leave something out, when it's whatever they're doing is not comprehensible or it's not saying. I know that, you know that, right? You see it. Now you might be you're a little younger and more get along person. I say no, go back and read this shit. Go back and read it, nigga. Go back and read it. So with that said and done, I hope the audience knows me. One day I will get to Europe. Um,
Oh, you got to holler at me. You know, if
you
you come back
speak
here.
you're in France, right?
Yeah, I speak French fluently. Yes.
Oh, you speak French fluently. So you're how can I say we owe a debt to the francophone Africans as they called them. If it wasn't for most of the early people who studied ancient Egypt, Price Mars, there's Diop, there's Price Mars, there is Alion Diop.
Oh yeah, he's. I don't know if it's in Senegal, but it's somewhere in the continent.
Right, but oh no, Alion
I
Diop
think.
was Presence African, right? I'm older than you, right? You don't know Presence African?
Oh, Présence africaine. Okay, yes, yes. The publishing company. Yes,
Yes,
the
that was the
publisher. Yes.
inspiration
Mm.
that helped Diop and Obenga.
Présence africaine. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Alion Diop. He is the head of Presence African,
Mhm.
right? Um, yeah. And then even the Haitian ambassador Antonin Firmin, who
Filmer.
was
Yes.
yes, spoke French, right?
Mm.
So we owe a debt of gratitude to your forebearers, right? From being yeah.
You know, Reggie, maybe you know that already, but uh, pe- people in America have an elitist mentality, and they feel like they're on top of the world,
So
and
do the French. The
not
French
really.
African thinks they're superior.
No, they don't say that. No, I can tell you, the French people in general, they will follow what the British do, what the Americans do. You know, they don't feel superior. They
They
might, I,
superior to Black Americans, the Francophone Africans. Not
no,
the not they no
no,
they.
no, no. I mean, you know, like I've said before, Africans on the continent and in the diaspora, we have a love for our people in America, for
You
African Americans.
do,
We,
you do.
and many times I hear people say, "Oh, Africans look down on us." This is a saying. This is a saying. This is not a reality. You might
Well, you're
have come
speaking to
across.
me. I'm from New York,
Hmm,
right? I was born in the South, but I'm from New York.
hmm,
If I mention your forebearers, right, and I study them, you obviously know I have respect for you.
hmm.
Let's not talk about the spiritual people who are too busy doing what they do instead of reading, right, and researching, right? The people that know have enormous. Dr. Jeffries speaks French fluently,
Oh, I
right?
didn't know that.
Oh yeah, when you speak to Dr. Jeffries, just speak to him in French. Him and
Oh, I
his
didn't know
wife.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. He got most of his education in France, right?
Mm.
Yeah, and he's able to speak to the Africans. He used to speak to Cheikh Anta Diop. I'll be in a room and him and Cheikh Anta Diop would be talking, right?
Oh, I learned something. If I
Ni-
see him, I saw him. I didn't speak to him. Some years back they used to have some yearly conference in France, and
Oh,
Jeffries
that's
came in. And Bruno Rashidi also came in, and but they don't have that anymore. There was some
yeah. But
issues.
Dr. Leonard Jeffries and his wife, Dr. Rosalind Jeffries,
Mhm.
are um, fluent and fluent. I don't know if he went to Lausanne or something like that. I forgot the university that he
Mm.
went to, but both of them speak fluent.
Okay.
So that's why I have
Mm.
my background is the same background of you don't people don't know that I worked on the civilizational barbarism translation. I was
Oh,
on the
you know
team
some
to
French.
translate. No, I didn't
Oh,
translate. I was part of the team. I was a computer
oh,
person
okay.
in charge of it. Yalingi Nagimi translated it, and Dr. Jeffries began the
Mm.
translation, but Yalingi
Mm.
Nagimi finished it. But I was on the team with Dr. John Henry Clark, Yalingi Nagimi, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, and the Kermit Eady of the Black United Fund to get that book published until it went to the white press. So
Mm.
I think hopefully you have a better idea of me. I'm older. You know how like you have old uncles and they're cranky. They're just not like you
But
just.
I knew about your background. Like I said, I've been listening to you for many years, and I know you were close to Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, and many other people.
Mhm,
I've known that. I've known
mhm.
that.
Yeah, and
And I know you introduced some people who came up with a new theory for the name of Kemet. You introduced them to ASCAC, and I've read the comments. I've seen what happened. I've seen the
they
discussion behind
weren't
the YouTube.
there, and they weren't there. Let me take off my glasses because I have to read.
Mm.
They weren't there. They're making stuff up. They're trying to do associations, right? I started trying to learn the meta nature in 1985, 86 with Dr. Richetti. These kids are in junior high school and high school, right? I graduated from college in '88. I'm
But
not.
you
Yeah.
you know you know I mean I'm trying to be diplomatic with Asal. But I mean, years back, he was talking about, there were Hebrews in Kemet, you know, and he was talking, about the the Hebrews were black, and he talked about the Haparu, or and really it should be pronounced Hapiru, but it's fine. So that's the kind of linguistic gymnastic he was on. He's been calling himself a linguist for a very long time. He doesn't have any degree of in
Well,
linguistics that I know of, and that's fraud. That's fraudulent. But that guy, he gets the praise. He doesn't get the criticism.
I'm not gonna bang on brother Assault Imhotep.
I'm not asking you to,
I have debates with him, and what we do is we just go to the scholars as referees.
because
He's
he
very smart in his lane, but I have
he's
disagreements with
slick.
him. And we're gonna be on it. We're going. Oh man, where is this conference? We are going to be in a conference. Me and Asar. How did I? Let me see if I can put this up. Right. Sorry.
Mm, mm.
Uh, there
Like
is a.
he's been teaching that like what Niger Congo is closer than to the Medinetta than the Coptic. I mean, there's always fruitful claims, but it's all good. It's all good to each his own. To each his own. But
Yeah. Let me see if I can put this
can
conference.
can can you call yourself a linguist if you don't have any
Absolutely
degree in
not.
linguistics?
Well, huh?
That's
Well, no,
fraudulent.
no. Yeah. Well, you can learn the skill set. So, I mean, you
Yeah,
can learn the
I,
skill set, and you
I,
can.
I, I can learn about medicine. I will not call myself a MD, a medical doctor. You know, I will not call myself a
Oh,
medical practitioner.
yeah. But then, I mean, here's the thing: is white folks has grandfathered themselves into this stuff. They call themselves a whole bunch of stuff. Petrie is the father of Egyptology, and
Well, some
uh,
people would say Champollion, but so you're saying it's okay for someone to call himself a linguist if he doesn't have any degree in linguistics? Is that what you're saying?
if he has some training, if he has some training, I'm not gonna
Uh,
bang. I'm not gonna bang on a saw. I'm not
okay.
gonna bang, huh?
No, but disagreeing is not banging, but it's okay. It's okay. Is your friend? It's
Because
okay.
I'm not gonna bang on him. Yeah. How can I say? I have had to
He's your colleague.
beyond. Uh, wait. Oh, okay. He's somebody in the area. I mean, I disagree with him, but I'm not bang. I'm not gonna. Where is it? BeyondWestAfrica.org. Where is? I don't see this site. What? Give me a second. I don't know where this is. Give me 1 second. I have to do this because we're going to be on a conference together. So West
There's the integrative school of psychology who would mind your brothers being on for a minute. I went and ate dinner and came back still building law. Yeah. But brother, we've been on for 3 hours.
Yeah, let me just put this up if I can get this.
Okay.
Okay, there it goes.
Okay.
All right, so here it goes. West Africa Beyond. Let me just see. Yeah, okay, I think this is it. Let's put this here and share my screen.
Okay. I'll share it as soon as I see it.
Okay, wait. I'm sorry, I've done some background.
No
So
problem, no problem. I know how it is.
okay, yeah, thank you.
No
So
problem.
share screen. There it goes. Share screen. So me and Asar, we are going to be with Dr. Jahi Issa and Dr. Faraji Salam, who you should know, and the conference is West Africa Beyond, and so it's westafricabeyond.com, and then here is the presenters, and it's going to be in February, and so the presenters are Abdul Solo, Soren Hotep, Yezvez Victor
I,
Nagongo,
I noticed, however, he did not put linguist there, so I can see growth.
Dr. Salim Faraji, Anissa Malvison, right? Shamako Oye Kita, I know everybody knows him. Dr. Nashir is going to be there. Dr. Jahi Issa, Dr. Quim Niki, Lamon Baji, excuse me, doctor, for mispronouncing your name, and Dr. Sandro Capo Quiche, and so Dr. Andrew Jacks. And so, and Brother Reggie's here as a researcher, and I'll be talking at this conference. So we settle out debates and stuff like that on international conferences with Africans and stuff like that. So it's westafricabeyond.org. Thanks for letting me put that up. And so this is where we settle our information from. I'm not no YouTuber. Ain't no God. I'm not no. Not saying that YouTubers are, but I'm just not a YouTuber. So I'm a researcher. So and I'm respected, and I'm respected by others and PhDs and other scholars. So you know, I mean, so when the so-called Kemetics, that's how we started. When they start making national conferences, you let me know on scholarship, right? When they start being on national conferences, you let me know. I appreciate that, right? I want to see their work. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. I appreciate that. Take care, my brother.
Thank you. Bye.
All right.
Hotel.
Okay.
Watch this. Hotel.
Hotep. All right, brothers and sisters. Well, I noticed now that there was a lot of background noise actually, and I've been live streaming for 3 hours. I'm very glad that brother had the opportunity to come in. He had left some comments on the video before it started, and when I saw them, I've sent in the I've sent the invite link to him, and he accepted the invitation. And it's always nice when you communicate and you can express your disagreement without going at war, without beefing. It's always very nice. It's always very nice. And I will leave you, brothers and sisters. Uh, I really hesitated about addressing that short clip that I played at the beginning. I changed my mind a lot. So I was like, okay, no, I won't. Then, oh, yes, I want to address it. Okay, no, I want to address it. And eventually I was like, okay, let me address it because I might, I might regret later that I did not address it. But a lot of things were cleared up. For my usual audience, the regulars, you have noticed I haven't been live streaming for a while, but I'm still giving the Medu Nature classes, and it's a great pleasure to do so. But over than that, I cannot really spend, hours live streaming and then never get any support. But I'm not going to dwell into that because some people will feel like, okay, this guy is only about the paper. But there's plenty of material that you can go through on my account. Of course, it's Mad Forever, like you can see here. If you have not seen the video called Introduction, I'm sorry, now it's called Kemet and Ma'at. The full title really is Introduction to Kemet, but if there's one video you should watch coming from me, then it's definitely the one. Kemet and Ma'at, Before Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Those of you who want to learn the Medu Nature, you can subscribe directly on the YouTube. It's about $15 a month, and you get one lesson per week. So if you make the calculation, it's cheaper than any other place. And when I say cheaper, don't think cheap as not of value, but think as a good price. Okay, affordable. Okay, and for those of you who are French speakers, I also give classes in French as well. I have my slides translated into French as well. So I've been giving also literature classes in French. Thank you for being there. Stay safe, stay healthy. And if I'm allowed to by the nature, I will definitely holler back at you. Hotel. Now, for the record, for those who don't know, I'm giving middle nature classes. And here, that's the flyer. Okay? So, those who are interested, feel free to holler at me. If you're not interested, it's cool. But I recommend that everybody who has not yet seen the video, Kemet and Ma'at, Before Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, then watch it. It has about 300,000 views and really deserves to have a lot more.
I just want to let everyone know who's listening in now and who's going to listen to this stream in the future. I just had my first Meta Nature class by Brother Shaka today, and I've had other Meta Nature lessons by other teachers, and I can tell you right now, the brother is the best in the game. He is that was one of the best classes I've ever had ever. So if you're interested in learning the Meta Nature, if you're interested in getting the basics of it, Brother Shaka is an awesome teacher. Get with him, and it's extremely affordable. This brother is giving us his time and his skills, and he's basically giving it away. I mean, I just consider it a donation. You know what I'm saying? So if anybody's interested in learning the Meta Nature, get with this brother right here. He's an awesome teacher. And I'll end with that.
Hotep Senu, Hena Senut. This is Julie, also known as Servant of Yah, and I'm currently taking the Medu Nature classes with Brother Shaka, and it has been an amazing experience. Only 2 lessons so far, and I feel like I've been taking the classes for months, just with the how in depth he goes into the vocabulary words, the construction of the language, the grammar. It's been immeasurable, the experience. And one thing that comes across, hands down, is his extreme passion for teaching this to anyone who is willing to learn and has an interest in learning. So I highly suggest, if you are interested, even a minimal interest, that you subscribe to the classes with Brother Shaka. It's such a nominal amount for how much you get. I know, like, our last class was over 2.5 hours. It felt like 2 minutes, but because that's how, involved you are in what he's teaching and how he teaches and how compassionate he is about what he teaches. Also with sharing materials free of charge. No question, no doubt. It's just what he does. He doesn't have to, but he does. And so I just wanted to give a short testimonial about the class and the effectiveness of the class. And all of that is attested to how studied Brother Shaka is. So I highly recommend anyone with a minimal interest that you do sign up for the Medunetia class. Hotep.
Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, which is Ma'at Forever. Don't forget to watch the video entitled Kemet and Ma'at. Don't forget to share Kemet and Ma'at on my channel on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, or other social media that you use. Email, text messages, you name it. Those who wish to donate can do so on paypal.me/ma'at4ever.